There's the phone. Okay, it says we're live on Twitch,
YouTube,
and Facebook.
Awesome.
Hi, guys. This is Drew,
This is Jacob.
and tonight we are reviewing a movie that Jacob had not seen before
No, I have not.
about a big blue bald man.
Exactly. I'm wearing blue, but I don't have a blue head.
I had a joke.
Well,
It's gone.
Correction, we're both wearing blue.
Yes.
Hmm.
Neither one of us thought to wear
No.
like an Elvis shirt or
No,
something.
we're not.
And you've got the hair,
I do have the curl.
so because that's more of what Metro Man was.
Yeah, it's very
Elvis than Superman.
Man, I agree. It's he is the king.
Hey.
But yeah, we're doing Megamind.
Right. This is one that has actually been on the possibility list, I think, since the second year.
Okay.
And the reason, because I ended up getting this when I got my copy of Monsters vs. Aliens, because it was a 2-pack.
Oh, okay.
But Monsters vs. Aliens got on the list first, and I don't remember the exact reasoning on that, because I really think this is the better film.
I would agree with you. I wholeheartedly agree with you.
And considering who one of the scriptwriters is, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, okay. We'll figure that out. I'll figure that out later. He's our
I say scriptwriter, script doctor.
Script
I should
doctor.
say.
Okay, script doctor. Got it.
So it's not going to be listed in the writing credits. But yeah, we're going to be reviewing that tonight. And then we'll be doing some X-Men. And yeah, it's just us tonight. No guests.
No guests currently.
Yeah, someone can just jump in at any moment.
Yeah, exactly, because you never know.
Yeah, you never know. It's like, hey,
hey guys, can I jump in here? It's like,
sure, come on in.
Yeah,
did you watch this film?
Yeah, we watched it. We watched it recently instead of 2 months ago or 2 years ago.
There's a lot of actually well thought out stuff in this movie.
Oh,
I'm looking forward to talking about
the movie itself is brilliant. I'm watching this like, oh my gosh!
It's like, why?
Where's this movie been?
Of all the DreamWorks films,
yeah,
to not be turned into a franchise,
yeah.
Why is it this one?
Well, there's a little bit of they're planning to do a series.
They've claimed this for a while, but it's
they're saying it's going to be in 2024 by this point, but you never know. It might be just shelved at any point. By the way, thank you for moving the camera.
Well, I mean, you preferred it there.
Yeah.
And I was trying to move it back, and I couldn't remember the exact location.
Yeah.
And at least here, I'm now no longer being blocked in the chat.
Exactly.
I can actually read chat.
But that's fine.
Well,
I could do that. That's fine.
Let's face it. If something comes up, like, I don't know, I can do that and you'll see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is like the only thing in our chat right now, which is the stream element saying, hey, you're live.
So, yeah, we're just waiting for people to come in and join the conversation.
Yeah.
Because Megamind is one of those, it's like a cult classic, one of those movies that got buried so deep.
Oh, yeah. I think it just came out at the wrong time.
It did. I think it was Shrek was just concluding its fourth movie that same year.
Yeah, because this was in DreamWorks lull period where they had not a lot of good stuff.
How to Train Your Dragon?
I said not a lot of good stuff.
Not okay.
No, I didn't say nothing was good.
Okay,
I just said there wasn't a lot of good.
I was about to say How to Train Your Dragon was obviously an amazing film.
I didn't say it wasn't. We have reviewed that, and we will review it again.
Yes, I agree.
And then maybe we'll finally review the sequel.
Oh my gosh!
No,
yes.
we did review the second one.
We did. That's right.
Oh, yeah, so we're only two from getting that done.
Yeah. I thought it was three films instead of four.
Four films.
Okay.
Isn't there? Isn't it four?
Hold on.
I thought it was four.
I think it's three. I could be wrong.
In my mind, it's four. I mean, I've been wrong before. I will be wrong again.
1, 2, 3.
Okay.
I thought it was three, and I was like, "Where's the fourth one?"
Like I said, in my mind, there's four.
Yeah, that is totally understandable.
But I think it's really gonna. This is 2010,
Mhm.
so this would be like just as the MCU is really taking off,
Mhm.
and Avengers had not come out yet. I don't believe.
No, that was 2012,
I think so.
2012 or 2011.
And the thing is, the original Avengers movie is really what kicked off the current
Agreed.
era. Yes, there were five other movies before that point in the
Mhm.
MCU, but when people really started to take notice and not just think, oh, this is just a couple of superhero movies that supposedly have a connection,
Mhm.
and then Avengers comes out and it shows that it did.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, that really re-energized the
Mhm.
superhero genre
Yeah.
for the next 10 years, and now it's starting to fall off again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Avengers was
let's-
2012. This movie was 2010. This was being made at the tail end of the old superhero genre.
Yeah, same year that How to Train Your Dragon was made.
Yeah.
Came out that same year. So it kind of got
Buried, yeah.
because you had the last bit of the Shrek films, which I think the last Shrek film was actually good.
It was better than 3.
Oh, it was far superior than the
But
3.
at the same time, it didn't get as much play as How to Train Your Dragon or anything else that came out that year.
Yeah, I agree, because DreamWorks they were putting out movies that year, and just they had the two big hitters be like the end of Shrek, the beginning of Dragon,
Mm-hmm.
and this little movie just got left in the dust.
Which is crazy when you consider that this wasn't even originally an animated film.
No, it's supposed to be a live action film.
Yeah,
Really.
we'll get into that.
Yeah,
here in
get
a
there when
minute.
we get there.
We hadn't started yet. We're just now
No.
rambling at this point.
Right.
Oh, and the Madagascar films had started off by this point. We had at least 2 of those out.
Oh gosh.
I don't think the third one or the Penguins TV show had come out yet.
Okay. Interesting. So yeah, that's what we're doing, and they're gonna and TES we're gonna be doing
parts 3 and 4 of the Phoenix Saga.
Yeah.
Not the Dark Phoenix Saga, the Phoenix Saga.
Yeah,
Dark
we'll
Phoenix
just wait for
Saga will
that.
be in a couple weeks.
Yes.
Ish.
Apparently Drew is you already have the episode edited.
The
right?
episode for Fire and Ice is edited. I meant to upload it last night. I was apparently too tired to remember, and then I was distracted this afternoon.
I wonder wow.
More on that later.
Yeah, a little game recently came out like
today.
Today, and like every gamer went ah.
I'll talk more about it in a minute, but it's a good game.
Fair. But like he's already probably beat the game.
No, I haven't. I am still in the tutorial area because the mechanics of this game, considering how much construction there is complicated.
Okay.
I have messed up 3 or 4 different ways of doing stuff like twice before I realized, oh, I can build it this way and it'll actually work.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If I make this correctly in a way that makes sense logically, I might actually make it up this stupid hill with this mining cart and 3 fans.
Yeah, all I can say is
it's missing a rail.
I know several people that are like, it's like, oh, the game is coming out tonight. Be like, I'm gonna be playing all night. It's okay.
I didn't play all night. I did stay up until 11 o'clock, which was when it came out here locally. And I played up until it said, okay, go over to this shrine. And I thought, oh, this shrine's going to cost me to have to think. And I'm too tired to think.
Fair.
I am getting, it had moved from the, oh, this is a cool passive enjoyment to get you introduced to the series. And, oh, yeah, here's the first game mechanic you have to think about. It's like,
what?
It's too tired. It's too late. I'm tired. I have gotten my taste. My appetite is whetted. And it will hold me until I get home from work on Friday, and then I got home from work today and kind of lost track of time.
That I understand. Be like, I got up at 5, a little after 5, and I was like, okay, I need something to eat, so I quickly grabbed something to eat and got home and got comfortable, ate, finished my notes, turned on X-Men because seemingly I forgot to review this episode. And then I was like, okay, I've got a little bit of time. What do I want to watch? I'm like, ooh, The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. That'll work.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's a good film. It's a good film. Yeah, it's all three of them are on Disney, which is ironic because the third one wasn't released by Disney originally.
It was Fox, and now
it was Fox, and now it's Disney.
Yeah. Circular, right?
It's very convenient, I would say.
Very conveniently circular.
It's like, okay, that works.
Yeah, because they lost that during, I think it was like the what?
Well,
the
Walden Media moved the third movie off of Disney, like, or Disney didn't want to finance it. That's what it was.
Yeah, because I think it was
Prince Caspian did not do that well.
No, it didn't.
So Disney didn't want to do it, and so the rights reverted back to Walden Media was able to shop the third one around, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, and Fox got it. And the less I complain about Voyage of the Dawn Treader, the better.
Dawn Treader or Dawn Trotter?
Treader.
Trotter.
It's Treader. It is Treader.
Okay.
Tread is tread. And it is treading.
Yes.
So it's the Dawn Treader.
Yes. But apparently in Europe, it's Trotter.
Well, I don't have a British accent.
I know that. I don't either. I'm just going off way the characters say Trotter.
Now I'm hearing.
You got me confused.
Now I'm hearing the Dawn Shredder. I was like, well, there's got to be some 4 anthropomorphic turtles walking around somewhere in that movie. Whether or not they know ninjutsu is another matter. No, what I'm saying is
yes.
Of the books, because I have read all 7 books in the Chronicles of Narnia.
Okay.
Voyage of the Dawn Treader is my favorite.
Really?
And of the 3 movies, Voyage of the Dawn Treader is my least favorite.
Fair.
Because they ruined it. That's opinion.
Okay.
I will fully admit that. But it's like, you know how it is. When you have a favorite something, they're adapting it for film. And no matter what they do, there's no way they could have adapted it the way you wanted it.
Oh, yeah. So here's an interesting story when it comes to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So when
there's more in the movie than the book?
Huh?
There's more in the movie than there is in the book?
Yeah, there is.
There is that.
There is that. But so my little brother Daniel, being the avid reader he was and is now, when the movie came out, he decided he wanted to reread the book.
Fair.
Right before watching the movie.
Okay, I have a rule.
Okay.
I have had to learn this rule the hard way.
Yeah.
If a movie is coming out based on a book and you have not read the book, you don't read the book before you watch the movie.
Well, he had read the book prior to, but he
right.
wanted to refresh himself with the book,
and
it ruined his experience.
That's what I mean. If he'd let it go, no pun intended.
Yeah.
If he'd let it go and experienced it just with his nostalgia, I bet he would have enjoyed it more.
I agree.
Than if he had read it first. Hey, it looks like, yeah, we got Retro in here. Says, oh, this isn't Tears of the Kingdom.
No.
Do what everyone else is doing. Retro, I could turn on Tears of the Kingdom now.
But we're in the middle of a pot.
It is right here. In fact, here, hang on.
He's petting his precious right now. Oh my gosh.
Hang on. Yes. Go to the title screen.
And
so yes, I could be playing Tears of the Kingdom right now.
But we're in the middle of reviewing it.
We actually have to do a podcast.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So, sorry, Roy.
Yes, sorry, Roy. You really want to see me stream Tears of the Kingdom? Show up Monday night. And assuming my internet doesn't be stupid like it was last Monday night.
Yeah.
I might actually get a stream out. So yeah, he's giving us emojis. Says, hear that, kids? Don't read. I didn't say don't read.
Yeah.
I said read after you watch the film. That way you can enjoy both.
Yeah, don't ruin your experience by reading the book first.
And drop out of school. I did not say drop out of school.
Whoa,
look, I was not an academic. I didn't enjoy school, but I still say go to school because you are learning stuff there. Anyway. Hit the click. Turn that one off.
We're gonna get canceled.
People will get the wrong idea later on.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, did you hear the Cellcast said this? Like, no, we did not.
We did. No, that was Jared. That was Jared. He stole Roy's mic. That's what happened.
Oh my gosh, you are more than welcome, patrons.
He says, "Hey, I moonlight as a stenographer. I know what I heard." Yeah, you bet you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Anywho, are you ready to get started on this?
Yes. Let's get that big brain of yours to work.
Deela, are you here? If you are, will you play the intro?
Of course.
Well, you're here, but play all the way through.
The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who, well, for some reason, he's a fish inside a bowl on top of a giant ape neck.
Well,
Welcome, Jacob. Deela, what is going on?
yeah, this is a little weird now. Come on, D-Lit. I'm not a fish. I'm not a dogfish this time. Come on.
Wait, you can understand her?
Yeah, apparently. In this mode,
Apparently your mech has an auto translation unit.
apparently. D-Lit.
This is weird.
No, guys, some premium names.
Just don't go stealing Pauline.
Hey, if I could transform to a transformer, it'd be great.
He says it'll wear off in 3, 2, 1.
And that was cool for like a second.
And I'm now curious where the mech suit went.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway,
Okay. Why, thank you. Let me introduce our co-host. A man who decided he needed a vacation, faked his death, and left his city to ruin. Welcome, Drew.
did I leave it to ruin, or did I know who the true hero really could be?
Sure, you just want to retire.
Hey, I don't know what you're talking about. That's a bad Elvis impression. My uncle, I am not. Oh, are you ready to jump into this thing?
Yes, let's go.
All right. Really?
Womp, womp, womp.
Wrong show.
Certified fresh and spoiler free.
So I can't tell you how many viewings this is for me.
Oh, gosh.
Because if we do not count keywords here, if we do not
words in here.
if we do not count all the times it played on repeat when I worked at Wally,
okay, that makes sense. That totally makes sense.
I think you can say 3 or 4.
Okay.
But I watched this a ton when it was playing on the display TVs on repeat at Walmart. And what was funny is it was this film where I first discovered, because of that, the English descriptive service on DVDs.
Huh, really?
And I remember listening to this one, and it was always funnier on this one because of how they described kept describing Metro Man before they actually said Metro Man's name, because the only name we had to go off of was what Megamind called him, which was Goody Two Shoes.
Yeah, Goody Two Shoes. Yeah.
And I am disappointed that the Blu-ray used re-recorded and made a whole different English descriptive track.
Oh,
because that's God, and the new guy doesn't call him Goody Two Shoes over and over again. Because that was funny to me. But anyway, yeah, this is one of those that I'd watched it. I didn't get to see this one in theaters, which I don't know if I regret or not. I did catch it like on a Netflix disc email mailing. You know, back when Netflix still
they
discs.
recently discontinued that.
Yeah. Sad day.
Yeah.
Because actually that's how I went through a lot of movies, because that was cheaper than using like anything else.
Fair.
Back when it's like, well, do I want to do the streaming thing? I don't even know if my internet's good enough to do streaming. Oh, but I got the free disc with my 360. So maybe I'll do that. Of course, that's how I watched Tangled the first time, was streaming on Netflix. But anyway, And then we put it in. Someone put it in at Walmart to play on the display TVs, and we watched it ad nauseum, off and on. 'Cause you know how that goes.
Yes.
And that one I think played for about 2 months before someone decided I need to watch. We need something else on the TV. So yeah, I kind of have a good memory of this film.
Fair.
What's interesting is I forgot bits and pieces of it in the 10 years, 10, 11, 12 years since watching it ad nauseum at Wally. So I actually, there was a point about halfway through the film, it's like, I don't remember how it goes from here. Because I remembered up to, the fight at the astronomy telescope.
Okay.
I remembered up to that.
Okay.
I remembered what happened immediately after that, and then I remembered like bits and pieces, like very small bits and pieces, because in my mind, it was not long after this that he actually is fighting the quote unquote hero, quote unquote, at the end of the film. And I remember that being like, I thought that was quick. I didn't remember. So there was actually rewatching this, especially when I'm not being having to stop and say, hi, how are you doing today? Did you find everything you're looking for?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So it was interesting. It was an interesting viewing. And I'm not going to say this is my favorite DreamWorks film, but it is up there. I will say that. What are your thoughts? Because I think you had never watched this film.
No, I never have. I've never seen this film. I have heard of Megamind, but I don't know. I heard about it, and it's like, okay, it's a guy with a blue head. I had no idea what the film was about whatsoever.
Heck, I forgot Will Ferrell was the voice of
Megamind. Me either. I was pleasantly surprised it was Will Ferrell. And normally I don't like Will Ferrell as an actor. But
yeah, because usually, I always say that there are only 2 films that Will Ferrell was in that I actually liked. One was Stranger Than Fiction. The other is Elf. And I always forgot that he's the voice of Megamind.
Yeah. So this is my first viewing in this film. Obviously reviewing for this review for the podcast. And to be frank, I was blown away. I was blown away by this film because I was like, where has this been?
Yeah.
Because they're going to be like, it has been one of those films that got buried, and to the point where I think Katzen, the president of, or at the time, the president of DreamWorks, Katzenberg. Thanks, Katzenberg.
There's a name that hasn't come up in both disdain and sometimes happiness.
Yeah, adoration in some capacity. But apparently he made a statement like shortly after the release of this film that they would not pursue films like Megamind because it was a little too a genre that
in
they
fact,
wanted to go with.
To date, this is the only DreamWorks movie that didn't get turned into a franchise.
Yeah.
After Shrek. I have to specify that because Ants was a movie.
Yeah. Ants was a movie in which Katzenberg allegedly didn't steal from Disney.
Yeah. Allegedly it wasn't based on the concept of Bug's Life, which
you watch the
there's
films.
There's a film.
There again, I have not seen neither film, but what I understand, I've seen documentaries. Yeah, it looks like Katzenberg stole the idea from Disney and brought it over.
I have seen both, and I will say this. They're both decent.
Okay.
It doesn't tell you much.
Gotcha.
But I think to some degree I preferred Ants a little bit more. Okay. At the same time, I have not seen it since I originally saw it in theaters, and I've seen Bug's Life at least 3 times since then.
Okay.
So
my
memory's a little, biased.
Fair. I enjoyed the film tremendously. I was so surprised by how subversive they would change everything up. The genre of the superhero, they subversed everything.
Yeah.
It's just like, whoa, I was pleasantly surprised, shocked in so many other ways, and didn't see things coming. Be like, not like my friend who could probably see it, 10 miles away. It's like, oh, this is coming. Me, I was like, oh, okay. Be like, when they started talking about certain things in the film, we'll get there in our spoiler section.
Yeah.
But this was just like, oh my gosh, they did this. And it's like, oh wow, this is cool. And how like subversion, so like they flipped the script so well in this film. And there again, it's a hidden gem in the animation world. I guarantee there's a lot of our listeners who enjoy the film, or maybe some who never heard of it. But for this podcaster, through this reviewer, I love this film. This was fun.
And it's just nice to have a fun movie.
Yeah, exactly.
If we're being honest.
Yeah.
Especially after last week. Anyway.
Yeah.
We had fun reviewing it.
Yeah. Oh,
last week's.
I agree.
Watching it may have been another matter.
Be like I said in the review, like I said in our Fire and Ice review with Francisco from
Retro Rewind.
Retro Rewind. Thanks, Roy.
At least you didn't do like me on the first episode I was on of Retro, where you do the oath there, where we can't sue them or try to take our audio away from them. That thing, the legal stuff. And I had 3 times I said Wetwo Rewind.
Oh yes,
unintentionally.
Oh, of course.
Unintentionally, it's like my tongue got tied, and I turned into Elmer Fudd.
That's all, folks. That's Porky Pig, but either or.
Close.
Yes, but I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I was so pleasantly surprised by everything that was going on, and the idea that it's been what 10 years.
This film,
2000.
Try at least 12.
Yeah, 12 years.
A little over 12 years.
A little over 12 years. The fact to be like the villain's actually the good guy, which is surprising.
We'll get to that when we get there.
When we get there.
Yeah.
But such a good film. I love it. Highly recommend it. It's not streaming anywhere, I don't think. I couldn't find anywhere where streaming.
I think unless
you rent it on Amazon or YouTube.
Yeah, I think I saw it was up for rental.
Yeah, it's for rental.
I am doing a quick check just to make sure.
Yeah, it's for rental.
It's if it is streaming anywhere, it's not. Yeah, it is for rental on Apple TV, Amazon, Google Play, YouTube, all the normal places. It is not just where you can stream it for free. Which I'm actually kind of surprised it's not on Peacock.
Yeah, which would make sense.
Because DreamWorks is owned by NBC, which is owned by Comcast. So yeah, there's all that. Anywho, are you ready to go ahead and jump into the spoiler-filled section of this?
Spoiler-free
all
section.
Right. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Megamind. Listener discretion is advised. And not just because he mispronounces every third word.
Yes.
Actually, there's only like 11. Or there's only it's 20 mispronunciations, and half of them are Metrocity instead of Metro City.
Yes, like all the time.
Yeah. Anyway, Megamind was directed by Tom McGrath. And prior to this, he had directed the Madagascar films.
Really?
Yeah. He was also written by Alan Schoolcraft and Brent Simons. Or should I say Schulcraft?
Schulcraft.
Because that Megamind always pronounced school.
Oh, Schul. That's right.
I'm making a joke.
Yes.
Moving on.
Moving right along.
Getting into the cast, we got Will Ferrell playing Megamind. And he was Buddy in the film Elf. We have Brad Pitt playing Metro Man. And he was Tyler Durden in Fight Club, which is the only time you'll ever hear me talk about Fight Club because I learned the rules.
I still haven't watched Fight Club.
I still haven't either.
I do want to watch it though.
I do want to watch that one.
I think I own it.
I know the twist, unfortunately, because the internet will not shut up about this film.
True, and it's been like 20 something years
right?
Since it came out.
So I'm curious how, when you know it, how impactful that is. But
right,
either way, Tina Fey was the voice of Roxanne Ritchie. And in the TV show 30 Rock, she played Liz Lemon. Jonah Hill was the voice of Titan, a.k.a. Hal Jordan.
His name was Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
That's right. It was Hal Jordan.
No, Hal Stewart.
Hal Stewart.
It's Hal Stewart.
It was Hal Stewart. Not
Yeah,
Hal
because
Jordan. they
it's
flipped it.
Hal from the first one and Stewart from the last one.
Yeah.
It's Hal Jordan and John Stewart.
Yeah, John Stewart.
Sorry. David Cross was the voice of Minion, and he was Crane in Kung Fu Panda.
Hmm.
And then J.K. Simmons voiced the Warden. And of course, he is essentially J. Jonah Jameson in every Spider-Man thing anymore.
Yes.
And I know what you're saying, but Drew, he didn't play J. Jonah Jameson in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man films. And I would just go off and say, did we ever see J. Jonah Jameson in those films?
No.
So how do you know he wouldn't have been
Exactly.
J.K. Simmons? Anyway, Kingdom Hearts connections.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. How many?
I would fancy a guess. This is the movie that came out in 2010,
Mm-hmm.
and this was in the middle of, I guess, the middle of where Kingdom Hearts was being produced.
This is 2010, so like I think we would have been this would be right before Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance came out.
Oh, okay. So like
6 of the games, of which 3 had voice acting.
Oh, okay.
No, 5 had voice acting.
5 had voice acting. So probably I'm going to go like a logical guess, maybe 4.
You are very close.
My high or
actually 5.
Okay.
So actually, Neko in the chat was the closer winner. Too bad there's no prize. So I'll start with the easy ones. George Doring, Steve Mayer, Paul Kegg, and Steve Schaefer, aka the music department that shows up in nearly everything when I can't find a Kingdom Hearts connection. Did Kingdom Hearts 3 and Megamind, so there was that. But one interesting one we had was Jerry Smith, who was a lighting artist in both this movie and in Kingdom Hearts.
Really?
Yeah. And that's what I got for cast list. What do we got in info and stuff?
So, info and stuff. Let me get to my info and stuff. All right, so IMDb, it is a 7.3 out of 10. You can watch it on YouTube and other renting platforms for $3.99 or more or less. Production was DreamWorks Animation and PDI and DreamWorks, distributed by Paramount Pictures and DreamWorks Animation. Release date, where do you think it was originally released?
I know Paramount was the original company.
No. Where was it? Like theatrically was it released?
Which film festival?
No, which country? Let's just say that. Which country?
I know it wasn't Japan.
Okay, it wasn't Japan.
I know that one because
Yes.
I have trivia involving Japan.
Yes.
Canada.
No, but it's cold. Like Canada sometimes.
Russia.
Bing, bing, bing. We got a winner.
Why was this one in Russia?
I have no idea.
That's a weird choice.
Oh my gosh. There it is. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Hold on. I think my notes went away.
Technical difficulties.
What the frick?
That's okay. I'm having to move some stuff around on my thing because for somehow my first bit of trivia got copy and pasted in at the beginning of the summary.
Yeah.
So I'm having to move it before I accidentally just start reading
okay.
the trivia before the actual thing. So
yeah, my notes are gone.
How'd you do that?
I have no idea. So you can see the notes right here.
Oh, I know. This happened to me once before.
Go for it.
It's faster to do it than to do it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
What happened is it became 7:00. Type your thing in, and Apple by default switches from day mode to night mode at 7. And for some reason on a lot of these apps, it decides, oh, you want black text on black background. I don't know why.
You're welcome, patrons.
So there's a place in here to turn that
I've
off.
fixed it before, but in the middle of recording for the podcast,
Yeah.
went
I don't blame you, and I'm trying to remember now where it is.
because you pulled up in notes on your
Yeah, and
iPhone.
it's just black.
It's just black.
Is it display and brightness?
Maybe. Because I'll be like, I was looking at a second and then I turned away, turned it back on, and nothing.
Actually,
Maybe turn off night mode. And
yeah, I checked that, and that
whatever.
didn't do it. I clocked your thing again. Then you type your number in again. I certainly don't want you telling it to me while we're on the air.
No.
My code is 12345. Amazing. That's the exact combination of my luggage.
It's like, wait, we went all this way for the most simplest, stupidest
Joke we could have made.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's your notes? Is it under utilities?
Good question. Just look under search and probably find it there.
I mean, you go to the notes all the time, so
My theory is the Russian cyber.
no, it wasn't that.
I never experienced that before. I have. It was an interesting experience.
Google. I don't want Google.
Let's Google this. You're welcome, patrons. Again, there again for the people in our live audience. Apologize. Technical difficulties do happen, and be like, I'm good with technology, but Drew's far better at technology than I am.
So you say.
Yeah.
I can't find your notes.
Hold on.
You know where it is. I don't. Yeah, it was Cyberman.
Yeah. Hold on. That's weird. Yeah, because all my notes are black.
Yeah, it's because of the screen thing.
Okay.
Oh. Okay. That's where your notes are.
Okay.
I'm an idiot, dude.
Hey, we're all idiots sometimes.
I think it's this one, but it's got night shift set to off.
So are not going to mention
Notes.
Groot and his completely large headphones. Yes.
Where have you been, Neko? That's been here a
It's been
long
there a while.
time.
But thank you for noticing.
Night mode is not listed there. Actually, Neko, those are my good headphones. And baby Groot here is just nice enough to hold them for me.
Yeah, he's just jamming along. Yeah, so for our live audience, thank you guys for being patient. And for our listening audience, you're welcome, patrons.
I think. Nope. Now it's white text on white background. What the crap?
Interesting. I know it's just about time someone says it's adorable. I agree.
Well,
this is going to be an interesting day. Let's just say that, kids.
I don't know.
Womp, womp, womp. Just Google it then. What if your screen goes completely black in notes on iPhone?
Okay.
Such riveting content, people.
Yes, I know.
I know it's completely riveting. I know we should be talking about a movie, but I feel like I was doing info and stuff. I looked at my notes and it's all black screen. So yes, very riveting. It's like, oh my gosh, my phone broke. It's like, no, something happened. Not missing.
Hang on.
Just don't turn a dial. Because because otherwise they might not hear us.
iPhone Notes app. Black. Dark mode. Okay.
That's not it.
Because that's showing that the text would go white. Okay, that's what I switched it to.
And this is all my notes. All my
Hang on.
notes are completely black, like black screen, black letters. Went to white.
No.
Not there.
No. Because it's showing there should be this little icon
Yeah, but
right there, and
yeah,
it's not there.
It's not there. It's like there's nothing there.
Okay.
The wonders of Google, right, people?
Notes should be.
You should have
Notes
made the
background.
letters orange or blue or apple color.
Don't
I
work
mean
that
red.
way.
But yeah, that makes sense.
Well, this is obviously not the same version of notes that the website here is showing.
Mm. Yeah, because it's a Apple. It's a. I think it's an 11.
I think yours is like 1 year newer than mine.
And yes, for people who may be interested, may not be interested, I do not go and buy the brand new phone because it's all hip and cool. Be like, I just like having a good phone that has, I can use it for what it is and not.
Who has the money?
I agree, but I know a lot of people who do that, and they're in serious financial debt.
Okay, all I did was I closed
Mhm.
the notes app and reopened it, and
Really?
it worked. I don't know what difference that made, and it could mess up again.
All right, cool. All right, so take it from the top.
Yeah, info and stuff. That's where we were. Oh, hang on.
Deal it.
Don't know if I did that at the beginning.
All right. So info and stuff. It has an IMDb of 7.3 out of 10. You can watch it most places where you can rent to stream movies right now. YouTube, Apple TV,
Mhm.
Amazon, what have you, $3.99 or above. It's like, or you can go to your local game exchange and probably buy it.
Probably. It's probably still purchasable at wherever fine Blu-rays are sold.
Exactly. All right. Production was DreamWorks Animation and PDI DreamWorks.
Mm-hmm.
Distributed by Paramount Pictures.
Originally
Was distributed by Paramount and DreamWorks Animation. Release date. Let's go through that stick again. Where do you think it was originally aired? Or they originally viewed it and
cheat. I don't know. How about Canada?
Close. It's cold, but no, it's actually Russia.
Well, they crush sparrow eggs between men's thighs.
Exactly. I feel like I always want a sparrow egg for breakfast.
I suspect it is not that not that good.
Probably not.
It's not like a chicken's egg.
No, and I apologize if we have Russian listeners out there. We're not making fun of you. We're not.
Who said I was making fun of Russians? This is just the closest accent I have.
Very true. All right. So in October 28th, 2010, it was premiered in Russia. And then almost a couple of days later, like a week later, on November 10th of the same year, it was released in the United States, here in the States. Box office. It had an estimated budget of $130 million established. Its opening weekend, jeez, $46 million.
Ooh.
On November 7th.
Oof.
Its U.S. gross.
I'm surprised we even got the the short that's on the Blu-ray with that
Yeah.
those numbers.
Yeah, it's U.S. gross was $148.4 million. That's domestically. Internationally, it grossed to $321.8 million.
Mm-hmm.
So be like, I don't know how much they spend on promotion and ads and toys and everything, because this was the big boom in the 2010s where everything was getting toys.
Yeah.
And it still is nowadays. But be like, for how much money they probably made, be like, they didn't make much. Did it? DreamWorks lost money. Maybe they made a little bit of money with this film. So Megamind premiered on October. I'm going to go back to a little bit to explain a few things, because Drew said something earlier during the broadcast that Megamind premiered on October 28, 2010 in Russia, and theatrically in America in November 5th that same year. It was supposed to release in China or in Japan on March 12, 2012. But because of an earthquake and tsunami a day before,
The big earthquake and tsunami,
big one,
one that took out the Fukushima power plants.
Yeah,
it got
a little flooded,
delayed a couple of years.
Yeah,
more on that in a minute.
Yeah, its release was according to that, release was canceled, but eventually they got it.
It did get it. We'll get to that.
We'll get there when we get there. So, home release. It was released on Blu-ray and DVD on February 25th, 2011. With an all-new short, Megamind, Button of Doom. If you haven't seen that, it's actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, don't watch.
It's got a horrible name, but
I agree. But if you haven't seen the film, don't watch it.
Don't watch it first,
because it completely spoils everything.
It is meant to take place after the fact.
I made that mistake. I was thinking like, oh, it's just a funny skit. Oh, this will be funny. Nope, it just completely ruins the entire ending.
I knew I should have added that.
Yes, I agree.
In my mind, because that's the thing. I texted him Monday to find out after I finished watching it if he needed to borrow it.
See,
and he says, "Yeah, sure, I'll take it." It's like, I said, "Okay, I can bring it over now if you want," or trying to figure out when I was going to get it to you.
Yeah. And
he says, "Oh yeah, I'm not home. Just so put it underneath the under the doormat." It's like, "Oh okay."
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember thinking, it's like, oh yeah, I got to remember when I went over there. So like, yeah, there is a special, and it needs to be done afterwards. But because I was blindsided by, oh, I'm not home, I'm at my brother's, doing something,
laundry actually.
Oh well, I understand. That would be cheaper.
And plus, I got to visit with family, so that's always a
good bonus. Right. So yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
But my apologies for not giving you the warning to watch the Button of Doom after the fact.
It's all good.
Because I mean, literally, like the third line of text, is a spoiler.
Yes, I agree. I was like, wait, what?
It's like DreamWorks presents. That one's fine. The Button of Doom. That's okay. Day 1 of superhero patrolling. Oh.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, what if you haven't seen this movie yet? Watch the short afterwards.
Yeah.
Don't pull this guy. I didn't realize that, but you live and learn, right?
All I'm saying is, DVD Blu-ray people who make these things, if you put a short on your disc and it is in some way connected to your film, tell a person if it needs to be seen afterwards, because we have no idea. Because as much as I like to make the assumption, oh yeah, just watch it afterwards.
Yeah,
you have instances like Spider-Verse, where really we both agree Peter Porker needs to be seen first.
I agree. He
needs to play beforehand. That was obviously how it was designed.
Yeah.
And this one's like, no, you're supposed to watch this afterwards.
Which is just weird.
Well, no, because Pixar does this with a lot of their stuff that's not the original animations.
I agree. But
if you have no way of knowing that's what this is emulating.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So going back to the short, the Button of Doom also premiered on television on Netflix. Not Netflix, but Nickelodeon, which was aired on February 26, 2011. It was the 17th best-selling DVD of 2011 with over 3 million units sold. The film made a total of $70.4 million in DVD and Blu-ray sales alone. That's pretty impressive for a film that didn't do exactly well in theaters.
Yeah.
That's really impressive. As of November 2012, 5.6 million home entertainment units have been sold worldwide. The film was released on Blu-ray 3D. That was a thing back in 2011.
Right. That was at the height of it.
Yes, it was. In March of 2011, exclusively as a part of the Samsung 3D starter kit. I think I've heard of this. I think.
Basically, it was for Samsung TVs. It was a series of movies they released.
That's right.
As to launch the whole 3D thing, and it kind of worked.
Kind of.
But not really.
No. Like Avatar was the film that started it, and
hey, Avatar, you gotta remember the thing about Avatar is not only did it jumpstart the 3D movie movement that was never executed correctly except for like 5 movies, one of those being Avatar.
Yeah, agreed.
The other thing it did was it forced all the movie theaters to go digital.
Yes, agreed.
Which better or for worse.
Yeah, agreed.
That was the next step in the process, and we are still using all those projectors, which is, and they're at the end of their usable life.
Yeah,
and
in the life.
None of these theaters will update their stupid stuff.
Apparently, Drew has opinions.
When do I don't?
All right, so on September 11th, 2011, it was exclusively at Best Buy stores. In 2014, the film distribution rights and purchased by DreamWorks Animation from Paramount Pictures was transferred to 20th Century Fox. The rights are now owned by Universal Pictures.
Yeah, because this is the thing with DreamWorks films.
That's right.
DreamWorks does not own their distribution. They never have.
No, they never have.
Their entire idea is we will make the movie and we'll partner with somebody else to make it. So if you go back in their history, both in the animated stuff and in the live action stuff, you'll see some films are co-made with Paramount, some were co-made with Fox. All of the animation stuff is owned wholly by DreamWorks, even though a lot of the companies did produce like part of the film, which is why their logos still appear at the end of the film.
Right.
Yeah, they don't show up before anymore.
Right.
So that's why you get stuff like How to Train Your Dragon has like the first one is at Paramount, the second one is at Fox, the third one is at Universal. This one happened to be a Paramount, but and you can kind of tell if you remember the commercials, you can tell when they went to Paramount because for some reason Paramount changed every single name of the thing for their advertising campaign. They called How to Train Your Dragon Dragons.
That's right, they did.
Shrek Forever After, I think was the actual name of it.
Yeah.
They called it Shrek 4 the Final Chapter.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there going, why are you changing the name? This is obviously not the name of the film. What are you calling it this? And it's because their marketing department, Paramount's marketing department, for some reason, kept changing the names of the films.
Weird.
To whatever their internal name was at Paramount.
Yeah.
And this was around the time Paramount actually started getting into some financial troubles. Well, they would lose the MCU 2 years from this point to Disney. And they kind of already had because Disney owned it, but they just had the rights to do the initial releases still because of the original production things.
Agreed.
Paramount was putting out the Star Trek movies, but there was only the first one had come out by this point. And that required going through another production company, which was first for Star Trek. And it's not long after this you get to the Bayformer stuff where you start seeing Chinese logos in front of stuff.
Yeah.
Which is weird. And that's a problem that faced Paramount for a long time. The only real help steady stuff they had was Nickelodeon movies.
Good to know.
because of the fact that MTV networks owned both at the time, or Viacom owned both at the time.
Yeah.
But anyway,
All right. So obviously this movie never had a sequel because shame because there again they were talking like, oh, we're no longer going to do genres like that, even though it's a groundbreaking, really good idea storytelling. But we're not going to do that anymore.
I believe Monsters vs. Aliens came out before this.
It did.
And you know our opinion on that was not glowing.
Yeah. Go
And
back
I think
listen
it,
to that
and I
episode.
don't think it did as well either. So they may have already been soured on the idea
Yeah,
of
agreed.
if we didn't already have a successful franchise of turning it into franchises, because it took a little bit for How to Train Your Dragon to get a sequel after this.
Yeah, agreed.
So
All right. So there has been a television series in the works for a number. They announced on February 11, 2022. It was announced that Peacock had ordered a CG animated series from DreamWorks Animation Television. You okay?
excuse me. Coke went down the wrong tube.
Oh, yeah, that's never fun. DreamWorks Animation Television, serving as a follow-up to the film originally titled Megamind: Guide to Defending Your City, as of May 6, 2022.
Mhm.
The cast and form has not been revealed. The series will chronicle the new hero's quest to become a social media influencer and a true superhero.
I can kind of see this.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't think you're getting Will Ferrell back for this.
Oh, you never know.
You never know, because there have been a lot of this stuff like that's been tying stuff where they get the whole cast back, or
Yeah.
all but like a couple of people who were busy and couldn't come back. I mean,
Mhm.
Tangled the series got everybody back
Exactly.
for a cartoon. Granted, it's Disney, but still,
And plus, Disney Channel didn't treat that show very well,
right
at all.
But we still got them all the way up to 2019.
Agreed.
And there's been a couple others where it's like, oh yeah, it's the actual original cast, and then you get to this, and it's like somehow I just don't think Will Ferrell is going to come back. Probably neither Tina Fey will either, and I doubt Jonah Hill. I doubt his character would come back anyway.
Yeah.
But I suspect they'd have to recast pretty much nearly everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe David Cross would hang around because I don't know him from anything else.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Okay. So as of August 5th, 2022, one of the showrunners confirmed that the show's writing has been completed and production is moving forward. The series will be released in some point in 2024.
We'll see. Have to wait and see how that works
Yeah.
out.
So maybe next year we might actually get a series,
Maybe.
or it might just go into limbo and they might just continue to.
I mean, I think we're at like the limit to where you may have a hard time getting an audience for this, because
Yeah.
this is obviously going to be aimed at kids.
Yeah.
And like the main kid audience would not have been born when this movie came out.
That is true.
So,
But also just more like a
not actively aiming for teenagers, which
Yeah.
I doubt DreamWorks was going to do.
So here's my thought on this. Is there again, Megamind was not a big hit. It wasn't. So be like there again, it has a huge cult following behind it. So not to say comparing these two movies at all. You have Megamind, came out in 2010. Then you have the big smash enormous hit way over here in 1985 called Top Gun. Its sequel did not come out until 2021, 22,
22.
and it made blockbuster numbers.
I'm not saying it's not possible, but we are also talking two different audiences.
Oh, I agree. But it's just it's the gulf in which these two have been released from each other.
Right.
So you never know. Be like,
you never know. I mean,
this could be just a banger of a series that comes out. And it's like, oh my gosh, where did this come from? And everyone goes back and rediscovers Megamind.
Yeah. Anywho.
Yeah, so that is all I have for info and stuff.
Let's get into the summary. Supervillain Megamind and his arch nemesis, the superhero Metro Man, are both aliens who were sent to Earth as infants before their planets were sucked into a black hole. They both land in Metro City at the same time. Metro Man is raised in a mansion, while Megamind is raised in prison. They go to the same school, sorry.
Still makes no sense.
He goes to the same school as Metro Man, who is well liked by his classmates. Megamind is bullied by everyone until he concludes his purpose is to be a supervillain, setting off a rivalry between him and Metro Man. As an adult, Mega Man, aided by his fish-like companion Minion, frequently and unsuccessfully battles Metro Man for control of the city. At the grand opening of the new Metro Man Museum, Megamind escapes prison, kidnaps reporter Roxanne Ritchie, and lures Metro Man to an abandoned observatory to rescue her. Once there, Metro Man collapses, claiming the copper-lined observatory roof weakens his powers. Megamind then blasts Metro Man with a sun-powered death ray, apparently killing him. Overjoyed that he has finally won, Megamind takes over the city and goes on a crime spree. However, he eventually becomes depressed and purposeless with no hero to fight. Mega Man decides to blow up the Metro Man Museum to forget the hero, but sees Roxanne there and dehydrates the museum's curator, Bernard, into a small cube. Disguised as Bernard using hologram technology, Mega Man talks to Roxanne, whose remarks inspire him to use Metro Man's DNA to create a new superhero to fight Megamind. He perfects the formula, but accidentally injects it into Hal Stewart, Roxanne's dim-witted cameraman, who is infatuated with her. Disguising himself via hologram as Hal's space dad, Megamind offers to train Hal to become a superhero. Hal, seeing this as a chance to get with Roxanne, accepts and takes on the name Titan, although he misspells it throughout the entire film as Tighten,
Titan.
as in tightening.
Tightening.
Yes, instead of Titan, Titan.
Titan.
Megamind begins to date Roxanne, and the guys are. No, that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Megamind begins to date Roxanne, and the guys are Bernard, and he and Minion have a falling out over Megamind's apparent lack of interest in committing further crimes. Roxanne rejects Titan when he comes to court her, and Titan later witnesses her on a date with Bernard after a heartbroken Titan leaves. Megamind's Bernard disguise fails, and Roxanne rejects him as well. Megamind arranges to fight Titan the next day, but Titan does not show up. Megamind learns that Titan is now using his powers on a crime spree. Titan offers to ally with Megamind, but the latter deliberately reveals his disguises and deceptions, hoping to goad Titan into fighting. Angered, Titan savagely beats Megamind in the fight. Realizing that Titan has no interest in justice and means to kill him, Megamind traps Titan in a ball of copper. However, Titan easily breaks out. Megamind and Roxanne escape to Metro Man's old hideout and discover that Metro Man is still alive, having faked his weakness and death to pursue his dream as a musician. Megamind and Roxanne attempt to enlist his help against Titan, but he refuses to help. Metro Man tries to encourage Megamind to become the new hero by telling him that a hero will always rise to defeat evil. Dejected, Megamind willingly returns to prison. Titan goes on a rampage and kidnaps Roxanne when she tries to reason with him. On a televised message, Titan holds Roxanne hostage and demands that Megamind fight him. With Minion's help, Megamind escapes prison, where he goes to comfort Titan, using holographic disguises to make himself appear as Metro Man, and Minion as Megamind, to frighten Titan and rescue Roxanne. However, Megamind's speech patterns give him away, and Titan attacks Megamind, throwing him into the stratosphere. Dehydrating himself into a cube and landing safely in a fountain, Megamind rehydrates next to Titan and extracts the DNA from him, removing his powers. After Hal is arrested, Megamind and Roxanne rekindle their relationship while the city celebrates Megamind as their new hero. The museum is rebuilt in Megamind's honor, and a disguised Metro Man cheers for him at the grand opening ceremony. In a mid-credits scene, Minion discovers the real Bernard has been rehydrated in the washing machine. Bernard complains it has been the worst day of his life before Minion knocks him out with the forget-me stick.
I love that.
Getting into the trivia for this. An early version of the script had a reporter asking Hal how to spell Titan, but since Megamind, as Space Dad, never taught him the correct spelling, Titan misspells it as Titan, Tighten. Instead of voicing his character from a sound booth, Brad Pitt, who is a very active actor, insisted on using a handheld microphone for his performance and roaming around the studio. The film's plot was based on the premise, what if Lex Luthor defeated Superman? A whole crew of animators was dedicated solely to the movement of capes. This was originally pitched as a live-action film.
Mm-hmm.
The film was finally released on June 23rd, 2018 in Japan after nearly 7 years. It was supposed to be released in March 2011, but was canceled due to the devastating earthquake that happened at the same time. Tropic Thunder 2008's co-stars Ben Stiller and Robert Downey Jr. were both originally approached for the role of Megamind, but turned it down due to scheduling conflicts. Instead, Stiller only appears in a minor role as the museum's curator, Bernard. It's clear through watching the movie that Megamind's crimes usually involve property damage and robbery more than violence. Megamind seems to choose unoccupied areas to cause his mayhem, like the abandoned observatory, which shows that he's quite uncomfortable with the idea of actually killing people. When Megamind transforms into different forms, his voice changes to match the character. Yet when Megamind transforms into Bernard, his voice remains that of his own. This is explained by the watch recording the warden's voice during Megamind's escape from prison. He didn't quite get the chance to record Bernard's voice in the rush to replace him in the museum and had to use his own voice.
And he did it simply because he was underdressed.
Yeah. Megamind's dehydration gun also bears the commands decompress, debilitate, demoralize, decoupage, deregulate, destroy, and death ray, which I nearly wanted to call death ray. Guillermo del Toro was hired as a creative consultant 3 weeks before the film completed production. He majorly assisted in editing the film to make it more exciting.
Well, good for him.
In fact, he is the reason why the film starts in media res.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. There are numerous references to Superman in the film.
No.
The way Megamind's parents put him in a capsule to Earth just before the planet is destroyed. His love interest is a reporter. Hal's space dad is modeled after Marlon Brando as Superman 1978's father in Richard Donner's film version.
Yes.
Almost all of Metro Man's superpowers are the same as Superman's. Megamind's pronunciation of Metro City has the same stress pattern as Metropolis. Metrocity. Megamind takes on a bespectacled secret identity similar to Clark Kent. In the Metro Man Museum, there are statues of Metro Man preparing to catch an airplane. This is a reference to John Byrne's Superman comics, where Superman made his first appearance by catching a plane and saving Lois Lane.
Or Superman Returns.
That too.
Yes, he got a plane.
Yes, I was trying to think of a timetable, but that would definitely be before this. Megamind, when enumerating possibilities where Metro Man could seek refuge, mentions a fortress of solitude, the traditional name of Superman's Arctic homestead. And that's all I got for trivia.
Oh, okay.
What is your first like for this movie?
My first like is the whole nature versus nature versus nurture. Are you naturally good or you're naturally bad, or is your environment who creates who you are? And that is a huge debate among philosophers and those of that definitely, if you, for a guy who loves true crime, be like, that's a huge thing in that field. So you have this idea of Megamind. It'd be like, obviously he's raised in a prison where you have his arch rival,
Metro Man.
Thank you. I keep thinking of the movie Metro Man, which was a movie back in the early 90s. Metro Man was raised in a lavish home, privileged, the whole bit, where Megamind was in a criminal system where he was taught villainy. But the fact to be like Drew said before, the fact about Megamind is be like he does have a good heart. Be like he doesn't want to really hurt people. Be like that's just the system which he grew up in. So he has this natural tendency of being a good person.
Yeah.
So he doesn't really want to hurt people, but he just wants to be villainy because that's what he grew up doing. And so you take the same thing with Metro Man. Metro Man was a man who has tremendous power and tremendous responsibility, in air quotes. Is in fact, everything is thrust upon him that you have to be the hero. You have to save the day. He's never given this agenda of his own. So you have this man who is kind of pompous. He does everything because he's supposed to do it, not because like the archetype of Superman who wants to do this was and stowed upon him to do this for humanity, and it was desire to do that. But like he wants to help humanity. Where Metro Man, it's more, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is not what I want to do. And I love that contrast between be like your desire to do something and what is thrust upon you. Be like you can use the theological argument of free will versus election in that way, because you can have where be like you are predestined to do this, or you have the free will to choose what you want to do. Like you have the free will to choose Christ or reject him, or you go to Calvinism or more Calvinism viewpoint of, or it does say in the Bible, so just give or take, you are predestined to know Christ, and it just depends on how you use the definition of predestination. So in a lot of ways, be like, it's really interesting how they flip the script on so much of this, where it's not the hero who chooses his destiny and embraces the destiny, rather where Metro Man is a man who this is put upon him and it's a burden upon his shoulders. He doesn't like doing this. This is not who he thinks he is. And he makes the very, I would say, very selfish statement, but in the same time, he's making his own agency as a person, because he's never had that, because all of the responsibilities have been laid upon his shoulders to be a hero. So in that instant, he decides, I'm going to retire. I'm going to fake my own death. And then just vamonos, gets out, takes a retreat from the world and wants to become something he's always wanted to be. Say you have a parent who is be like your father's a banker. You don't want to be a banker. And your dad is like, you have to be a banker. That your mother, father, grandparent, whatever, as be like, you have to be, this is the only thing you're going to do, because that's what you are destined to do when you want to be a cello player or something like that. So this dynamic of nature versus nurture is played so heavily in this movie. And I enjoyed the journey in which we find where Megamind is the guy, all he knows is villainy, but he has this solid heart, the solid heart of doing the right thing. And he struggles with this through the entire film, because of this nature versus nurture thing. Be like, all he knows is villainy, but it's not really who he is.
Right.
And then you have Metro Man, it's the same thing. And then you have your true villain in the movie, which is be like, oh, I have all these powers, and be like, I'm this insecure nerd who has all these pent up frustrations about life, and he gets powers, and then I'll get into that later. But nature versus nurture. I thought that was a very eye-catching point in this story. What's your first like?
I like the fact that our film's Jimmy Olsen is the villain.
Yes, I love that,
because Hal Stewart is supposed to essentially be Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, he's Jimmy Olsen.
And I remember when I first watched this film, I see this guy, and it's like, okay, he's not going to be a big character. He's going to have the unrequited love of the, because it's on. It's unrequited because he's going to be the cannon fodder, the red shirt, the Wesley Crusher, of this thing.
Shut up, Wesley.
And I remember when I was watching this, the fact that he actually is a major character threw me for a loop, because when I watched the film originally, you watched this originally, and he is a side character, until he gets hit with the super with the DNA capsule, and you're going, oh. And then he becomes a major character in the rest of the story, because he's the one that Megamind's going to end up having to take out. Granted, he's never he's in a couple of scenes here and there, and of course he's in the big fights at the end. So I mean, it's not like he is still a secondary he's the main antagonist. Don't get me wrong, but he's technically the secondary antagonist, or I would call him that, because the primary antagonist would be Megamind's insecurities.
Yes, agreed.
So the fact that the character who throughout all Superman, the character archetype throughout all Superman that we always make fun of and go, "Oh, yeah, looks Jimmy Olsen
Mhm.
hanging out with his pal Superman."
Yeah.
What kind of troubles he gonna get into? So he has to hit the secret button on his Superman watch that will call Superman to his aid.
Yeah.
Because if it's not him, it'll be Lois Lane.
Mhm.
And so the fact that he's actually a major character in the story, B, he's the villain, and C, apparently doesn't know how to spell. I thought that whole setup was funny, and of course it makes sense. The kid who no one ever talked to, who no one paid attention to, no one really liked, but they kind of put up with.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing is, Jimmy Olsen at the very least was a likable character in most
Yeah,
instances.
Of course.
Hal isn't.
No, Hal is not.
You don't like him from the beginning. You feel
Mm.
bad for him maybe
You do.
for a little bit because he's a 30-something guy with no prospects at all, and he's not even someone people want to even talk to regularly.
Yeah. You know who he reminds me of?
If you say me,
No, not you. I am not going to throw. I'm not going to throw my brother and my parents on the bus.
I'm going to admit I was sitting here saying, "Oh yeah, he's a 30-something with no prospects," and I go, "Okay."
But no, it reminds me of Crow. That just went into my head.
Sorry.
No, you're good. It reminds me so much of. You know what? I'll remember it in a moment.
Okay, but he becomes him being a major character in this was just like a touch of brilliance, because I remember sitting here watching going, after he takes out Metro Man and then does the crime spree, I'm half expecting Metro Man to come back somehow. And even though they do the whole thing with the skeleton, which I knew immediately when I saw the skeleton with the cape, it's like, okay, that's fake. I don't know how it's fake, but that's not really Metro Man. Metro Man's still around, and Megamind's going to screw this up somehow, and and Metro Man's going to turn quote unquote evil somehow.
Yeah,
which technically is what happened in a way, but
yeah,
just there's somebody else. But from that point, I was like, I have no idea where this is going. And then it's like, oh, he gets this. Like, now I really don't know where this is going because. Some of it after a little bit you go into it and he's doing the whole I'm your space dad and space stepmom.
Oh gosh.
Which leads to one of my favorite lessons. Yes. Of course you're not my space dad. And you need to tell space stepmom the truth. You lied to her. It's like
how yeah, that's not the way it works.
It's not. Yeah, I think you're missing a couple steps there.
Yeah, just a little.
But yeah, I just love that our Jimmy Olsen actually is a major character and he's actually the villain.
Yeah.
Now that he has the ability to be the villain.
Yeah. I'll be like, I'm kind of leapfrogging into your first and then my second. That you have Hal, who is the guy. He's not really likable, but like he's the Jimmy Olsen character. It'd be like this movie does a lot of subversion of characters. And you have this almost like I'm almost not afraid to say, but going to say anyway. More of this toxicity of you have the archetypal nerd type, who is be like, oh, because if I get fame or power or something, the girls will like me instantly. Because you have this, it subverts this. You have a great scene in the movie where it takes one track from Superman the movie where Lois Lane and Superman go flying off together because they have chemistry. And no, this movie it isn't. It's this idea of like, I'm not going to say be like toxic masculinity.
It's more like I have abilities and powers and don't know how to use them and don't realize that just because I have the powers, it really didn't solve my underlying problem, which is that I'm a disgusting jerk.
Yeah, you're a disgusting jerk. It's more of the be like, oh, I'm going because now I have power. I can do what I want. Be like, I have control over things now. But in reality, he doesn't. He is this very pathetic person who be like, you take at the core of who he is. He's not like he is a pathetic soul that you find pity on throughout most of the film, because be like you find him that he is just a lovesick puppy for his crush, and he's not getting the the return is not mutual.
Right.
And understanding like being single, be like, I was single for the very longest time. Be like, Drew is still single. But ladies, if you know anybody who's single, we can.
I'm available.
He's available. Not done. So
I'm funny.
he is funny. He is funny. Have you watched the show? Have you listened?
One
to our
hopes that you know I'm funny by now. Or maybe I'll have to break out my unicorn voice.
Show? Please, not now. Please don't do right now.
Okay,
Because-
fine.
Because our audience will see me go blue and fall on the floor.
We had enough of that last week.
Yes, we did.
You don't need to look like Megamind
No, I don't.
because you got the forehead for it.
I do. I do. Thanks.
Anyway,
Anyways, Hal is the atypical nerd who thinks he thinks the girl's gonna fall for him for whatever. He's just he's the disgusting guy you really don't want to be around. Like, oh, that's what it was. He reminded me of what's his name? He's the nerdy guy. He's always after Dana in the original Ghostbusters.
not Egon.
No.
Yeah, no.
He's
not talking about Bill Murray's character.
No.
You're talking about and not it's not the two ones I recognize. I know the actors. It's the one I don't know is the actor. I don't know his name.
Yeah, we're losing nerdy parts here. I know
Sorry.
that. But either or, be like he plays the guy. He's always asking Dana. It's like, oh, we're having a party. Oh, we're gonna do.
Oh, you mean Rick Moranis'
Rick
character?
Moranis' character. Thank you.
The Keymaster.
The Keymaster. Yeah. This
I don't
kind of
remember his
reminds me of-
name, but it's
except for Rick Moranis' character, you actually kind of be like, when I watched Ghostbusters the first time, be like, I really didn't like his character at all. Be like, dude, you're a little pushy. And this is what Hal is. He's a very pushy character. And so when he receives the power and be like, he goes for his training and all the whole bit, be like, oh, this girl's gonna fall for me instantly,
Mhm.
and tries to swoop her off her feet, and she's like, no, I don't want to be around you, you're a disgusting person. Be like, you have all these, and his notion that his whole goal, his whole ambition is, now I have power, I'm gonna get the girl.
Louis Tully.
Louis Tully, thank you very much. Probably lost about 4 points nerdy wise, the both of us there. But
I have a defense. I've seen Ghostbusters 3 times in my entire life.
wow. Okay.
It was not one that was on my
Fair.
list back in the
Totally
day.
fair. Totally fair. There's a lot of movies that you've watched a ton and be like,
Yeah.
I was like, I watched that once when I was a kid.
And I do remember it.
Yeah, I don't remember at all.
And then we've got a movie coming up that I've probably seen 20 times and you've never seen.
Exactly. That's for Stokehouse Plus, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, wait for that one. That's gonna be interesting, people. So be like, he's the Louis Tully character, but except you actually like Louis, where Hal is a unlikable character. Be like, you feel sorry for the guy,
Mhm.
but at the same time,
But you never like him.
you never like him.
You're not supposed
You're
to
not
like him.
supposed to like him. And his whole ambition is to get the girl, and he's pushing himself on the girl, in which any decent gentleman of a guy, definitely, if you know Christ, be like, you don't push yourself on people. You don't
No.
push yourself on a girl. Like that is wrong in every fashion or form. You don't do that. Be like, any guy worth his caliber would be like, yeah, no, you do not push yourself on a girl, because they don't be like girls. Like when you approach them, maybe like you're a gentleman and kind
Yeah.
and all that. It's be like there's the.
I mean, this guy, this says, oh yeah, we're gonna have a party, got a bouncy castle.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
oh, I'm sorry, I can't be there. Oh, because I guess there's just too many people. It's like, oh, it's just gonna be the two of us.
yeah, not
Yeah, got
some-
a bouncy castle for 2 people.
That's just a bit too weird, dude. Just a bit.
Also, considering we saw his apartment,
yeah,
where did that bouncy castle
yeah,
get
exactly.
set up?
You but like if you took what Studio B is, Drew's apartment, be like, and you
It's
just
smaller than this.
crunch it down to just it looks like a New York
A New York
apartment.
City apartment.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, where in the world do
Go-
you?
Go look at what's her name's apartment in Zootopia, the main rabbit character.
Yeah,
Go look at her apartment. It's about
Yeah.
that small.
about that small. But be like, yeah, the scary.
Or the French guy from Ratatouille,
yeah,
the chef.
yeah, that's right. That's right. That is a good movie. I recently watched that recently, and that was good. That was really good. So you have a guy,
Judy Hopps. Thank you,
Ju-
Neko.
Thank you, Neko. But yeah, he is a guy who thinks that he can get anything he wants because he has power, and he's fooled himself into believing that if I get the girl, my whole ambition is to get the girl, and he's rejected by the girl, and thus he becomes a villain and becomes the worst kind of man, which would be like any man worth his salt would be like, dude, get the heck out of here because you were making all of us look bad.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, it's toxic masculinity. Well, in a way it is, but the same guy, it's the
guy overcompensating and
the
thinking
guy-
he's all that in a bag of chips, and he ain't.
He's not. Be like, it's these guys who be like, oh, because be like, I won so many titles. Oh, I can do this. Oh, I have 7 Ferraris, and be like, blah 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 blah. And I'd be like,
He's Anakin Skywalker without the charm.
there we go. There we go. Thank you. He's very brash. He's a very arrogant character, and he's very stupid. He's a very stupid character. And be like, in some ways you feel bad for him, but at the same time, as the movie progresses, it's like you find yourself hating this guy worse and worse and worse, to the point where like he's become the full-blown villain, and your villain of Megamind becomes the hero that he's supposed to be. And I love how you get this. I want to call him Lewis, but his name is not Lewis.
It's Hal.
It's Hal. And Hal,
Which is ironic because I think doesn't in the Lego movie isn't Jonah Hill playing Green Lantern Hal Jordan?
I think
I just thought of that.
It could be. I don't remember. Because there again, be like when you do reviewing podcasts for
it's been a hot minute.
It's been a minute since we did,
and that one hasn't come back up in our votes for the rewind.
Yeah. So anyways, be like, I love how the subvert Hal as a character, the atypical archetype of a nerd, and just be like how twisted that can be as a person, and be like, it's like, yeah, that's not who nerds are. Be like, we're nerds, we're not like that at all. And I think some people just view if a guy's being a guy, they're just being weird. But no. Anyways, I don't want to get into politics, but so yeah, Hal as a character. No. I enjoy the concept of what they did with it. I love how they subverted and twisted it, and made this character who is absolutely revolting as a person, but you feel sympathy at the exact same time for about a hot minute.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my second. Like, what's yours?
There's only one character who technically has character growth in this film. That sounds like a bad thing.
It does.
But you want to know why I don't consider it?
Okay.
Because there is because every character in here has a character pivot.
Yes, agreed.
It's not that they have to. They need the characters actually don't. The only character who grows, in my opinion, is Roxanne, and that's because she has to learn to accept Megamind for who he is.
Yeah, agreed.
But you look at Megamind, he is in so many ways still the same character he was at the beginning of the film, but he's pivoted from seeing that he needs to be evil and do all this evil stuff to saying, oh, I can actually be the good guy.
Okay.
Metro Man doesn't pivot, but Hal pivots.
Yeah, Hal pivots.
Hal just thinks he's going to be this loser guy who's going to be, and then he gets hit with this, and it's like, oh, now I'm going to become the most hated villain in this town because I didn't get the girl because she's in love with somebody else.
Yeah.
And he pivots to seeing everything darkly. The characters don't actually grow.
Yeah.
But their pivots to a different perspective.
Yeah.
I think some people would call that growth, but I think that's just more like it's just a change in perspective. And so, because for the most part, I'm reminded of the scene at the very end. Now, granted, by all technical accounts, this is Minion at the time, but
yeah,
that scene where he's Megamind has come back, and all the death bots are forming the 3-dimensional hologram of his head, and he's like doing the whole showboat thing he's always done.
Yeah.
That's part of who he is. And it's not different. And he comes as, you're a villain, all right, just not a super one.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, that is something new.
Uh-huh.
What's the difference? And technically Minion as Megamind comes down and says, presentation. It's like, this is what would happen if the Joker became the hero, guys.
That is true.
Except in this case, Megamind is not insane like the Joker is.
True.
It's like
he's a little cuckoo, but
he's a mad scientist.
Yeah, agreed.
Archetype character.
He's Lex Luthor for crying out loud.
Right.
The Megamind with Brainiac.
He's a combination of Brainiac and Lex Luthor is the actual influences, but
yes,
because they were both Superman's biggest thing, villains at different times.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when you get right down to it, Lex Luthor technically for a time could have been considered a good character because he was president of the United States.
True.
And at the very least had to do some good things for the good people of his country.
Yes.
He was still Lex Luthor, though, in much the same way that so many of our presidents are still the people we knew beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's as close to politics as I'm getting with that statement.
Yeah, exactly. Because you could step into a huge pool with that. But there again, we're here
on both sides. On both sides.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So
we're not picking choose builds here. It's
right.
both. But either
he's such a he's playing the Snidely Whiplash at the beginning, and he's still Snidely Whiplash at the end.
Yeah.
It's just now instead of fighting Metro Man, he's fighting Titan, who is legitimately being a villain. And I love that those pivots. And then jumping back to Roxanne, where I say she's the only character with growth. Did you catch that at the beginning of the film, she's wearing a red dress?
Yes, she is.
Midway through the film, about the time that she's starting to fall in love with quote unquote Bernard, her dress is purple.
That's right.
And at the end of the film, it's blue. After she's fully on
Megamind's side,
fully in line with Megamind.
Megamind.
That's a great, wonderful, just little visual. It's like, she was granted Metro Man doesn't have a red color scheme, but that would have been cool. Titan does, which is a thing. But I mean, that's just a nice, cool little visual that she goes from one side to the other slowly.
Yes, I agree.
As she learns to actually realize that Megamind is not the evil villain she thinks he is. So yeah, that's my second like.
I love that approach where it's
subtle.
It's subtle, and there again, it's a good subversion of what traditional is about superheroes. Is that the damsel in distress has gotten be like she falls in love, or the love interest falls in love with the villain, not the hero.
Although that's normally called.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking.
Yeah, you know what word is not coming to my
exactly.
mind after I started the sentence, because it's what they claim that Belle happens to Belle
exactly,
in Beauty and the Beast,
not
but it's
true.
not.
Yeah, it's a
syndrome.
Yeah. It's where
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome, where you
I
fall in
was
love
thinking
with
it's
your
Germany. It's German. I know this.
Stockholm
syndrome.
Which really isn't Stockholm syndrome, but it's what the category is.
No, it's the closest. Not even this is really technically Stockholm syndrome.
No,
but under the right circumstances, it can be described as such.
It could be, but more Stockholm syndrome is where you have been in not in a relationship, but in an event or something like that, where you have been in a situation with a person, and by the end of it, you are finding sympathy towards that person who has done wrong, who's abused you, and you find yourself more and more drawn or attracted to that person.
So anyway, what's your third like?
My third like would be Metro Man's resurrection. And I was like, it's like for me personally, when the observatory, or at least the observatory blew up, and you get this amazing shot of the skeleton with the flag, and I was like, with this cape, and I was like, wow. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. I was like, okay, maybe he did get vaporized. Maybe.
So to defend what I said earlier about how even the first time I knew it wasn't real.
Yeah.
It's because I've seen so many of these things and know
Yeah.
how people think when it comes to children's films, which
Yeah.
technically this was made under that guise.
Right.
A, you don't kill nobody.
That is true.
B, the fact that even Megamind is not believing that Metro Man's weakness is copper.
Well, I'd be like, well, I will take it.
I mean, I get the allusion to lead,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you're weak to copper?
No, but like let's take that a little further with where Megamind believes that Metro Man's actual weakness was copper.
Which
that's
admittedly,
why-
it's not out of the realm of possibility. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, that's why
But-
he uses it against
But
Titan.
when I watched that sequence that first time,
Mhm.
the fact that A, even Megamind didn't believe that was his weakness.
Yeah, okay.
B,
there.
the fact that looks that is such a fake cartoony skeleton.
Yeah. Well, this is a very cartoony movie. But
Well, I mean, it's
the
even
artistic style is very
it's even cartoony for the art style. Is what I'm saying.
fair enough.
That's what I mean. And the fact that this is a kids movie and you're going to show a guy dying by throwing a skeleton.
Yeah.
Something about all this together, to me, this
Yeah,
is how my
fair,
brain works.
Fair.
Put together immediately, he's not dead.
Okay, that's fair.
But granted, I assumed he was going to be either out the rest of the film and we'd never see him again.
Yeah.
And this was just their way of showing it's like, oh, if he shows up, it'll be in an after credit scene because
Something like
this is about the time that started becoming popular because of the MCU,
right.
or he'll somehow get turned evil and have to fight Megamind at the end of it.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
That would have been a cool concept too.
But like,
if not a little cliche.
Yeah, agreed. So watching the film, like watching this is like, okay, be like in my mind, I was thinking, like in the back of my mind or in the forefront of my mind, it's like, wow, they killed him off. But like Drew said, like in the back of my mind as a reviewer and watching all these films, it's like, okay, maybe
there's something off here.
Something off here. And then they start cluing you in. It's like, oh, okay, he's not really dead. And it's like, oh, be like all of a sudden they go to his
Fortress of Solitude, which is his old school house.
Schoolhouse. And it's like, oh, okay, so he's not dead. And it'd be like, I guarantee, like people watching this for the first time in theaters, they'll be like, okay, that's interesting. It subverts a little more because there again, everything in this movie is subverting tropes of the superhero genre. And I was like, okay, this is cool. But at the same time, it shows the character of who Metro Man is. It's this man who, there again, has, like I said, my first was a man. This has been thrust upon him. He really didn't want this, and so now he found an opportunity to disappear, to fade into the ether, and become legend and live out the life he wants to. Which I thought was an interesting idea, but at the same time, it's this idea of selfishness.
Yeah,
that be like he knows be like the city of. I want to call it Megatopia, but it's not Megatopia.
Metro City,
obviously.
or Metrocity,
or whatever Megamind calls it.
He calls it Metrocity, and I'm going to fully admit, when I was reading through the summary, I had to stop myself 3 or 4 times when I came up on Metro City and not call it Metrocity.
Metrocity.
It was like, we hear it called Metrocity so much,
you just think
it's like, oh yeah, the town's called Metrocity.
Yeah. But I there again, this movie is very good at subverting expectation for the genre, and it's this hero who, there again, heroism has been thrust upon him, and he really doesn't want to do it. And when he finds the opportunity to disappear to the ether and to fake his own death, he takes it. And it's this act of selfishness, but at the same time, it's be like, I want to do what I want to do. But you're leaving your city, you're leaving the people that depend on you the most. It's like it's like someone who'd be like, oh, I really don't want to do this anymore. I'm just gonna quit, and you leave everybody hanging, and you leave. Be like, the way he did it was interesting. The way he did it, the way he explains it is very interesting. But it's this man who is basically given up. He's given up on life, or given up on what he has been destined to do, and rejected that calling, and instead, I am going to do what I want to do. Which I think, if you can kind of lay that out, you have where it's kind of like we take what be like I don't know. Just it's I find it a very interesting concept that you have a like we can all do this. Definitely like if we call it if you break it down to your faith,
Yeah.
like if you have faith in Jesus Christ, you have this like God has called you to do something. And it could be missions, it could be working with the poor, working with youth, working with elderly people, what have you. And be like you don't feel be like everyone's telling me like you have to do this, you have to do this, how you have to do this, but you don't feel your person be like this is not what I want to be doing. Instead, you go do something else, and there again, be like it's the rejection of the call, rejection of what you're supposed to be doing in life. Instead, you're being selfish and rejecting what the people in life believe you are to be doing, or in the case of the Christian is what God has called you to do. Be like, nope, I'm going to do my own path. I'm going to reject everybody. I'm going to reject everything that I have done for the solace of my life, just to be happy. And as I will all know, life isn't about happiness.
Mhm.
Be like, life can be full of happiness, but it's not about you being happy and content about life, but rather it's like what you can do for others. And that's the true calling of a hero, or someone who is called to do something beyond themselves, is to do for others what do for others what you should be doing for others. And Metro Man fails in this so terribly as a character, but I there again, I love the subversive tone of like it just flipped everything on the script, and just like, okay, here you go. Like the Megamind be like becoming the hero, getting the girl, and like with Megamind, it's the same thing. It's the guy be like, I'm just a villain, but he like he's thrust into being a villain and he accepts it. It's not, I really don't want to be this, but he really wants to be this. And I find that really, really well done. This is such a good movie
Mhm.
when it comes to just subverting everything, and I enjoy it. That's my third.
My third like for this film is Minion.
Oh yeah, Fishbowl.
This character is the character I did not expect when I first watched this film
Oh
to actually like.
yeah,
Because okay, yeah, he's Mega Man's partner in crime. He's a bit of a yes man. I think Despicable Me had come out by this point, so
Yeah.
Minions already had a bad taste in my mouth
Mm.
for obvious reasons.
yeah,
So the fact that you have a character named Minion, I think kind of threw me off when I was originally watching it. But the more I watched it, there's just so many little things about this character I absolutely love. For one thing, despite the fact that he is, for the most part, animated like everybody else,
mm-hmm.
his fish self, which is his only actual self,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels like it's animated separately
yeah,
from the rest of the body, like it would because he's a fish,
yeah.
happening somehow controlling a mech suit. We don't know exactly how that works, but we don't need to know.
Is it with his fins?
Maybe, but
Maybe it's telepathic. Who knows?
but the whole depending on the needs of the scene, his fish body is either his head or it's his body.
Yeah.
You get nice little visual elements like when they're training Hal to try to save the damsel in distress.
Mhm.
He's having to climb and up this ladder, a series of ladders, while Minion throws barrels at him, obviously
Yes.
mimicking Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
And there's even a shot of Minion up there getting ready to throw a barrel, and he's just like, kind of like animating just like Donkey Kong does, kind of in the game, except smoother, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is great. This is wonderful stuff. And the whole fact that's like, yeah, Minion maybe takes a little longer to understand what Megamind is doing, and perhaps switching from crime to being a good guy is a little harder for him to understand. But he's legitimately worried about Megamind throughout the entire the entire film. He's his best friend throughout the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
He's the only one that was there for him from the beginning to the end, and the only reason he disappears halfway through is because Megamind tells him to get out.
Yeah.
basically. And even then,
he's been rejected by his best friend.
and even then, it's Minion who is right there ready. It's like, hey, you ready to get back out there? Now that you've finally gotten over yourself, now that you've finally been a sourpuss, now you see your girlfriend, who I still don't understand why your girlfriend with her, but now that she's in trouble and you got to defeat this bad guy and now you got to clean up your mess, you ready to get out there and do it? It's like, he's that guy. He's the best friend. He's the wingman. He's there. He's helping Megamind throughout this whole thing. And he's kind of like the most forgotten character in some ways.
I agree.
But there's a reason why he's the one who gets the fake death scene at the end of the film.
Yeah, agreed. That was good.
Which it's like, okay, I like how you give us the fake death scene and you show it's fake. At the same time, it's like, couldn't you have worked that out just a little bit without being, kind of flippant with his resurrection?
Agreed.
Because it's like, oh, what a drama queen, am I right? It's like, you could have, you were keeping him out of the water for a long time, Megamind.
Yeah, you were.
You could have put him in the water a lot sooner, and he wouldn't be able to play that, and it would have been just as funny. But anyway, Minion is my favorite character. I think that the whole thing, because he's the only one who's got Megamind's back throughout the whole film, even when Megamind doesn't have his own back.
I got you. Fair enough.
So that brings us to our dislikes.
Yes.
And I want to go first on this, if I may.
Go for it.
My first dislike for this is the amount of times Megamind mispronounces words. Now, I want to preface this by saying I like the joke with Metrocity.
Yes.
I am fine with Shul. In both cases, I agree. That is understandable, but there's a couple ones that the fact that they tried to either the joke is lost because in some dialects you would pronounce it that way,
maybe,
or in one case the only reason I understood what word he was trying to say was because I had the subtitles on.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, did you catch that he always pronounced Metro Man as Metromon?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he's not a Digimon.
But the thing is, throughout most of the film, it's like, yeah, he's saying Metromon, but I mean, could just be him mocking and how he's always said that.
Yeah.
And that got annoying after a while. Now, the Metrocity that he actually caught as Bernard and then reset it as Shul. I don't remember which one. One of those, he started to say it the other way, caught himself and said it the correct way, showing that he actually understood it. It's like, I like those. But then you get to where he's like, I'm feeling, and he can't even say the word he used, or how he mispronounced it.
Yeah.
But the word he was trying to say was melancholy. And it's like, the only reason I knew the word was melancholy was because the subtitles were on. And the thing is, people don't know the meaning of the word melancholy anymore. It is not that commonly used a word.
Right.
So how do you expect 12-year-old kids not only to get the idea that he's feeling melancholy, but then to understand that word through an intentional mispronunciation of the word melancholy?
Yeah. So melancholy is more like kind of like in the blues.
Down.
It's
the blues. We would think of it as the blues.
Yeah,
which is ironic.
That's what
it's more of being not really full on depressed,
just in a
but
funk.
like just a funk, like the blues. It's like, and granted, he was a little farther into a funk than I think just straight normal melancholy would be anyway.
I totally get that.
But it's not a word in common usage.
No, it's not.
It's not even in. I think that's the closest thing I've ever heard Will Ferrell even come to the word melancholy, if we're being honest. The only other major usage I know of the word melancholy in modern day is the anime series from ironically around this time, The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya.
Okay.
And that's not really that won't help you learn what melancholy means, because she's not really melancholy throughout most of that show.
Yeah.
But it's a weird word. It's not a good joke. It's a bad joke based on this mispronunciations that are kind of funny, but are mostly just a weird quirk of the character that we kind of like. And it plays a role in the end of the film, it's a minor role,
Yeah.
but so I'm fine with like I said, the mispronunciations of
Mhm.
of Metro City as Metrocity and School is Shul, because they're funny, and I understand how he would make
Yeah.
that connection. But all the rest of them is like, no, don't do that. Just pronounce it the normal way, because those aren't funny.
Yeah.
If you're gonna play this quirk, play the quirk where it's funny, not where it's just like either you have to be really realize they're saying this incorrectly, or you happen to know an old word.
Yeah.
That's and even the way he says it, you can't even make out what he's saying. It's not just that he's mispronouncing melancholy. It's just like he's saying it so low, it's like you can barely hear it on the word on the speaker anyway.
Mm.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm starting to rattle on that.
Mm.
So yeah, a good portion of the mispronunciation of words that he does as a joke, but it only kind of works sometimes, is my first dislike.
Fair enough.
What's your first dislike?
My first like is Shul.
You don't like shul.
I don't like Shul. Well, I'm
the
not
word
saying,
or how they handle the actual shul.
how they handle the actual Shul.
I had a
Like, there
feeling that
again,
was more
I am
it.
very much pro school for anybody
Oh,
who's
yeah.
trying to say that. Oh no, but like Jacob says, don't go to school, kids. Yes, go to school.
You're still reacting to the pre-show with
Yes,
Roy,
I
aren't
am.
you?
Darn it, yes. So the way they,
Folks, if you don't know what we're talking about, you should show up on the Cellcast, our Facebook page, or our Twitch site, or on YouTube, and you can hear or become a patron.
There we go.
And you can see and listen to all of our pre-show and post-show stuff, because you're only getting 3/4 of the show if you don't see those. Anyway,
exactly. So the explanation of how they put Metro Man and Megamind in the same school, there again, kid who grows up in prison, which is there again, the kid wouldn't grow up in prison. Be like, just being real. Be like, understand.
well, yes.
Be like, oh, he's our pet, but he's a little kid. He's a baby, so we just raise this little baby as a pet. I don't get that, but at the same time, be like, you get this Metro Man, which we never really get his name, who he is, just Metro Man, my arch rival. Somehow these two kids.
Yeah, we do. His name is Goody Two Shoes.
Goody Two Shoes. So you get Goody Two Shoes
and Music Man.
Metro Mind and Music Man.
That's what Metro Man calls himself.
Oh yeah, Music Man.
After his Music Man.
Yeah,
that way he doesn't have to change his logo.
But it's so absurd. Like the whole notion that these two characters wind up being in school together when it's right next to the prison.
Okay.
And this kid who grows up in privilege, instead of going to a nice private school, goes to this little like country school house.
Okay.
Which it's just this weird. We got to put our characters together and make. We
got to show he's a pain in Megamind's life the whole time.
Yeah, because Megamind is bullied and that kind of stuff, and just
So-
it condenses everything together. It's where it's easier to tell as a story format, but it makes no sense to me at all when it comes to actual storytelling, because these two characters would not be in that kind of situation. At least make it more like it's a cartoon. I get it, but at the same time, make it more realistic.
Okay. I'm not trying to cut you off, but I've got to get this out. But I'm starting to want to say something.
Okay, say something.
What I'm about to say is not a defense.
Okay.
I want to point this out. It is just an explanation.
Okay.
Well, I suspect that this is the part of the film that comes from what I call early DreamWorks issues.
Okay.
If you look at the stuff, like, I would say How to Train Your Dragon is really where I call it the tipping point, because it's after that point where they really are trying to go toe to toe with Pixar and Disney.
Okay.
And admittedly, this was around the time that Disney finally started trying to make good movies again.
Fair.
Neither here nor there, but
it's called Tangle, people.
Yeah, and a couple other things. But anyway,
a couple other things.
This is like right before that line.
Yeah.
Or right around the same time as How to Train Your Dragon. And if you look at the stuff that's before that in DreamWorks' catalog, they are very much cheap joke.
Oh,
they love using the cheap jokes before that point. The cheap jokes will take precedence over story.
Fair.
And I'm not just talking about, admittedly, some of this comes from Shrek because that was their first big popular film.
Agreed.
It took a lot of the cheap jokes and they tried to replicate this formula across all their films. And for some films it works, for some it doesn't. I suspect that this was the same type of joke that would have been introduced the same way we had issues with Monsters versus Aliens. Because it's that kind of joke.
Yeah, I get
it. They work kind of.
Yeah.
It's a funny visual image, but it's not, does not make story sense.
Yeah, agreed, it doesn't.
For one thing, why would he okay, I can accept that Megamind and Metro Man would go to the same school as kids.
Yeah.
That's not really that strange. The fact that the kids would love Metro Man over Megamind, I fully can go with.
Totally makes sense.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Even the fact that the school happens to be next to the prison, or let's just be nice and say Megamind's home.
Yeah.
Because I have issues with the prison aspect also.
Agreed.
Even though the fact that it's next to Megamind's home, I don't have a problem with.
Okay.
The fact that it's a one-room schoolhouse, that as far as we can tell is the only school for Metro City,
which
peculiar. Doesn't make sense.
So apparently there's just a small handful of kids.
Granted, I think it's just supposed to be a cheap joke. It was not a thought out joke. The whole joke is Megamind is living in, grew up in a prison, which I agree with you, that probably would not have happened. But for the sake of this story, I can accept it.
Yeah.
Only for the sake of the story.
Yeah, only
because that's the only way. The fact that when he says at the end that I'm going home, and he goes back to the prison,
that's
it's the only home he's ever known.
Yeah,
that makes sense to me, and I can work with that. And the fact that the prisoners are the only people who ever accepted him for who he was.
Yeah, agreed.
There's family as far as he knows. I can accept that, but the fact that you have this one-room schoolhouse and there's like 12 kids in here and one teacher, and that's as far as we can tell the only school for all Metro City. Yeah, I agree with you. That doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
I can even go with, and this is the most rationalization I can give this moment. I can go with the mansion that Metro Man grew up with, because we know he's not that far from the prison.
Yeah,
I can imagine this being
it's a hop, skip, and a jump.
I can imagine this being like the community school.
Yeah,
that happened to be the only school that Megamind and his situation could go to, and it also happened to be the one that Metro Man went to because he happened to be in that district, and for some reason his rich adopted parents didn't send him to private school.
Yeah, which is
the biggest issue of the whole thing.
Okay.
And I don't think you'll disagree with me this, is at the end, Metro Man as a child picks up the schoolhouse and flies off to who knows where with it.
Yeah, with all his fellow students in it.
Right. And Megamind, I get why Megamind wouldn't know where it is, but why would Megamind have continued to look for it? And why, if this is going to be city property, as schools are city property,
yes,
convoluted way they are, would Metro Man be allowed to just take it out to the middle of nowhere and turn it into his Fortress of Solitude? Plus, why did he turn that into his Fortress of Solitude? And I can live with the wibbly wobbly timey wimey of being bigger on the inside like a TARDIS.
Yeah,
I'll let that slide.
Yeah,
despite the fact they didn't show how that worked. But
no.
Anyway, sorry.
I guess that's more like underground, like it's built under.
That's the assumption.
There again, it's on a cliff, and you don't have be like.
And Megamind never saw it.
No, he didn't.
It's overlooking the city.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's cartoon logic. It's like you said.
Yeah.
It's using those same old tropes.
I suspect it's a portion of, like I said, the How to Train Your Dragon DreamWorks method of trying to copy the Shrek formula that happened to still be in the film that happened to be left in, because like I said, this is at the time where it's transitioning away from that. Because I mean, all the other films that came after Shrek were doing this. Madagascar is very bad at doing this.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Monsters versus Aliens. I'm trying to think of Shrek 2, 3, and 4. They are kind of do it better, except for 3.
Yeah, 3.
And I can't even think of what other DreamWorks animated films came out in that time period. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah,
Good word.
because Kung Fu
Yeah.
Panda is after this, I think,
Agreed.
but it's also in that transitionary point. Anyway,
Yeah.
this is just one of those weird things that plagued 2000s era animation where we have to have stupid jokes that are trying to mimic Shrek.
Yeah. Agreed.
Let Shrek be Shrek and you be something else.
Yeah. Which again, this is a movie trying to subvert everything that it's trying to do.
Right.
But it's going back to that old catalog. of
I
what
suspect this was something that was already been rendered and they couldn't go back and change by the time Guillermo del Toro got involved.
That's true. But also the fact to be like this, it allows for more just like
I wouldn't even
like almost isolineal, just not isolineal, sorry, wrong word. But
I'm not sure that's a word.
It's yeah, I probably just wrong word. My apologies. No, it's just more it condenses everything down to where it's more easier storytelling, but it just makes no sense. You have these two characters go to the exact same little school. I get your point.
There's an easy way to fix this. Make it a regular school.
Yeah.
If you make it a regular school that happens to be next to a prison, yeah, that's weird, but that's part of the joke.
Yeah.
And then it's much easily accepted because you can make a regular building look like a school and not have it be the stereotypical one-room red painted old barn schoolhouse.
Which is funny in its own right, but
but you can do it without and still make it make sense. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my first. It's like the shul house.
His old shul house.
Old shul house. It makes no sense to me. But I understand his rationale. I get it. But at the same time, it's like do something different. You're subverting everything else. Why are you going back?
Why did you cliche this one?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, what is your first dislike?
My second dislike.
Second dislike. That's right.
My second dislike. My second dislike for this film is the use of some of the licensed music. Some of the licensed music is fine, I'll admit. Like Bad to the Bone when you're taking over the thing, that worked. But a lot of it is just like, oh, we need music here and we don't want to actually make new music. We don't want to compose new music. Let's throw in a licensed track because we have connections. And this kind of fits and it kind of doesn't. Like at one point they use the song September by Earth, Wind and Fire.
They do.
It doesn't make sense where they placed it.
I agree.
It's an overplayed song anyway. So, I mean, I am starting to nitpick if you can't tell.
Yeah, you are.
But some of the licensed tracks just don't work the way they use them.
They definitely don't.
I would prefer just using more. I always prefer using more original score, especially with animated films, because I think we use licensed music too much on those personally.
Yeah, agree.
But here, only a couple of them worked, and I think for the most part, it could have been left out. And I think part of the reason we do that is because there's still the idea that these movies should be musicals, and they don't need to be.
Gosh, yeah. I'll get into that one later.
So, what's your second dislike?
My second dislike is Jonah Hill as his performance, and like a lot of cases, like his takes are just like they're flat. It's like that's the best take you can really get. Where it's just like there again, this is nitpicking.
Yeah,
it's like sometimes it's more like his performance is like okay, he probably could have said that a little better. Maybe they just like okay, let's get Jonah Hill out of here because we're having to pay him way too much money. I don't know how much money he made for this one.
I would assume Will Ferrell would have been paid more, but he was also executive producer.
That is true. So I think it sounded like it was more like a rush job.
Yeah.
To get Jonah Hill's performance out, and there's a lot of like his performance is a little flat here and there. Like there's not as much gravitas you would have as a character who's being manipulated and turned in, be like supposed to be turned to a hero, but actually he's a villain. But like some of his his performances are a bit flat. It doesn't really match. It's just like where was she like kind of a thing. So there again, this is a nitpick. So yeah, that's my second dislike.
My third dislike for this film. I don't know if I really have one. I'm going to be honest. More I think about, I don't really have a third dislike.
Okay.
What's yours?
My third dislike would be it's continuing on the what Trek, not Trek, but Trek started. Why on earth are we continuing this terrible trend of every one of these movies have to end with a musical dance off?
Okay, you know what? This is my third. I forgot about it.
Okay. Yes.
But yeah, this is also my third.
Yeah.
Granted, I've seen some films where they do it better.
Agreed. Yes.
This is not one of them.
No. I would go back to like the first Shrek film. Be like, that was like, okay, this is cool. And then the format got duplicated and replicated all over the place.
Not every animated film needs to end with a dance party.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the big trend in the 2000, like in the latter part of the into the 2010s.
You know why they do this? Because it allows you to leave the movie with high energy.
Yes.
So that you think the whole film was. You leave the film with a very positive attitude. It doesn't matter how good or bad the film was. You leave this with a. I agree with you. With a very positive attitude. And the fact is, after the fifth time you've sat through one of these dance parties to almost the same songs every time.
Yeah.
You get tired of it. You know which one this reminded me of the most?
What would that be?
Despicable Me's.
Agreed.
Even to the part where the villain is dancing in an orange jumpsuit where he shouldn't be able to hear the stinking music.
But yeah, it's just like you have the origin, the genesis with Shrek, and obviously this is I want to say Pixar, but it's not a Pixar film, it's a DreamWorks film. And DreamWorks just got into that rut where every single film
had to end like that.
Had to end with this big dance party at the end. Like, I agree with Drew that be like, yeah, you want to get your fans excited. Oh my gosh, we're gonna do this fun, dance hoorah. I think Disney didn't really do that.
Not as often, or was very much more subdued when they
like
would do something similar.
Like Wreck-It Ralph kind of did it.
Wreck-It Ralph kind of did it, but it was part of the story, and then you get into the actual end credits, and you do have this more kind of a dance number sort of a thing, but you're also doing it as part of your end credits. DreamWorks never included it as part of their end credits.
No, it was always
the last scene, and then we'll go into end credits.
Yeah,
and I never understood that, because that dance kind of scene, that would be a perfect excuse to show, oh, here's who played this character, here's who played that character, because every single time, it's you get these nice shots of this character having fun. Why don't you say, oh, this character that was played by Will Ferrell, this character that was Brad Pitt, this one that's Tina Fey. Use it as part of your end credits.
Yeah,
but no, we always like, oh, we got to have this dance party, then we're going to show end credits, because no one cares who these people are. Despite the fact that's the entire reason we cast them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because even as much as I like the performances in this, very obvious stunt casting.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not a C-list actor in the bunch.
No.
Not till you get to past the point where it's like, oh yeah, we just hired these people to fill out things. And even Bernard is Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
For 2 scenes.
Exactly.
One of them being an after credit scene. But still.
Yeah, it's just this, be like, you get the Shrek films, and DreamWorks will be like, by the 4th film, they've already done it with Madagascar and all these other films. But so by the time we get to Megamind, it has become old trope. And this,
we were all tired of it by this point.
We're all tired of it, and this is a film that is subverting tropes, but then it goes back into its old trope with, we're going to do a dance party in this film. And I would have been perfectly fine with everybody excited. Maybe there's some music playing in the background, like maybe someone's dancing, maybe, but subvert it. But that's what this movie's doing the entire time.
At the
So-
very least, don't go with the dance party. Have Megamind fly off into like the sunset. If you're gonna do a trope, do one we haven't used in a
do it
while.
well, or at least subvert it in some capacity where he flies off, but his mechanical boots fail
Or
and he
something.
went crashing to the ground or something like that. That would have been funny. Oh my gosh, they subverted this again because this movie does it over and over and over and over again, and then it just reverts back to what DreamWorks has done for the last 6 movies,
Mhm.
6, 7, 8 movies, and it's become old trope. It's become a trope in itself, and a movie that subverts tropes just goes back to its old trope, and it's annoying.
Shark Tale was the one I couldn't think of, and
Ah.
Over the Hedge.
Oh, okay, yeah, same thing.
They all do. Oh, and Flushed Away, but that was more Aardman.
Mm-hmm.
Shrek the Third, B movie.
Oh,
Oh, and Kung Fu Panda did come out before this.
oh, yeah, that's right.
It was 2008,
Hmm.
and then
Kung Fu Panda. We've always
Megamind.
reviewed.
Yeah, it went Kung Fu Panda, Madagascar 2,
Mhm.
Monsters vs. Aliens, How to Train Your Dragon, Shrek Forever After, then Megamind.
Okay. Makes
There
sense.
were 3 DreamWorks animation films that came out in 2010.
And Megamind was the one who kind of got
It's-
buried by it.
yeah.
Everything else. And then you had Tangled in 2010.
And then Kung Fu Panda was 2 was the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, just like a movie that subverts everything about the hero genre, but at the exact same time, it goes back to using the same trope just DreamWorks has used over and over and over and over again with the dance party at the end of the movie, where it should have done was subvert it, do something really cool, really awesome, and our hero goes flat on his face, and that's how you end the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we like no, we're doing so well, but we gotta go back into the well and do the same thing because that's what all the kids want to do is hear the stupid dance party. You know, as adults, we're tired of it. Do something else.
Like I said, this is the transitionary film.
I agreed.
They were moving towards this, what they were doing with How to Train Your Dragon, with just producing good films first, and the fact that they're animated second.
Mm-hmm.
And then working off those things instead of, but they were coming off of, we've got to make cheap jokes every 5 minutes because we got to keep the kids laughing, so that making babysitter movies, as I
Mhm.
call them.
Agreed.
This is in that transitionary period where DreamWorks was finally getting serious with its filmmaking,
I agree.
because you can
You can see the bones of it. You can see the structure.
because if you look at DreamWorks' history,
Yeah.
'cause I just looked through all their filmography because I was
Mhm.
curious.
Yeah.
It starts off with heavy hitters. You got Ants. We'll more or less talk. That's not really a good one to start with, but you got Prince of Egypt there early on.
oh my
you
gosh,
got
yes.
you got all these other ones that I know are these more serious films, and then you got Shrek, and it's because of the popularity of how well Shrek did. They were trying to copy Shrek throughout all their stuff, and you
It's
see that
something that works.
and you see that they overuse the formula, and then right around Kung Fu Panda, because Kung Fu Panda I actually would consider the first of
Yeah.
where they were starting to turn it around.
Yeah.
That's when they start saying, "Oh, why don't we make good movies?
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be successful. Why don't we actually go toe to toe with what our most major competitor is doing,
Yeah.
and make a good film that happens to have jokes in it."
Yeah.
Now that being said, there's one in there I know we're gonna have to do at one point because I actually like it too. That's from this jokey era, and that's Over the Hedge.
Mm.
But I like it just because it's actually a funny film.
Yeah.
But it's
I've
not.
seen Over the Edge. It's
Yeah.
funny.
But this is in that transitionary period where they were moving from to having the story come first. Now, granted, we've seen some of the films past this point where the story, I think, came second after marketability. But
Right.
Trolls.
Trolls.
I mean, once they bought the entire IP of that, they
Mhm.
kind of had to push it. Anyway,
and they're
think
making a third film.
it
just
made
saying.
money. It was the most popular
Yeah,
movie.
I
You got to remember, Trolls 2 was the biggest COVID movie
Yeah, it was.
that came out during the time of COVID.
I agree.
Thanks, COVID.
Dead.
That's actually the worst thing COVID did, if you want to know my personal
Mhm.
opinion. All right.
Oh yeah, we're. Oh yeah, this is definitely not going to theaters. And then, a month, 2 later, oh yeah, we're putting it in theaters. Really?
Anyway,
Yeah. What do you rate this film?
our ratings is definitely what we need to be doing.
Yes.
I'm giving this one an 8.5.
Oh, nice.
This is a fun movie.
I agree.
It's a lot better movie than it has a right to be.
I agree.
Because, like we said, this is that transitionary film.
Mhm.
It's at a time when superhero movies were not quite in vogue again, but it still had the gall to come out during the time when they were starting to come back up.
Yep.
When they not really that popular, even though there's people, it was starting to become popular again. It does a lot of things good, poking fun at the past, both in terms of the 70s and 80s superhero films,
Yes.
to going back to poking fun at golden era tropes and such like that, while still making it a fun movie that everyone can watch. It's a great little family film. It's a great superhero film. And the places where it fails, I personally believe, are few and far between. 8.5.
Okay. I highly agree with you. 8.5 to this film. It's a beautiful film. It subverts the traditions of like everything you think of a superhero film, that just flips the script, does something different. It is beautifully well done, beautifully animated. It gives you such a roller coaster ride of emotions with characters, and to kind of use more of a wrestling, they flip the script with the character of what they do, and I really enjoyed that about the film. Or the character turned heel, like these heel turns all the time in this film, which is really well done, and I enjoyed the snot out of this film. This was so good. And I was looking through Amazon, be like, okay, how much is it? Be like, I want this film because I want to add this to my collection.
Yeah.
Be like, people, if you've ever seen my collection,
He has a big collection.
I have a big collection of films.
I'm actually surprised this one hadn't accidentally made its way into your collection.
Yeah, I was shocked too, and I was like, maybe I saw it and just was like, oh, it's Megamind. I don't care about that. Which there again, I think by the time I would either or, but yeah. 8.5. This is an incredible film. Go watch it. Go buy it. Whatever. Go show this movie some love, because apparently it's a cult classic now.
Oh yeah,
which I didn't know about. I was like, oh, okay. I'm very glad we. Did you pick this one?
I picked this one.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
So yeah, because of the weirdness of how our schedule got moved around in order so we could record with Francisco last week,
right?
This movie and Fire and Ice got flipped.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you had technically 2 in a row with Luca and then Fire and Ice.
Fair.
And then I have 2 in a row with Megamind and our next film that we're going to review.
I saw that a couple hours ago.
The very first Dragon Ball movie.
Not Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball. Curse of the Blood Rubies. I'm going to go ahead and preface this with, like, if you've seen the original anime, you will note a lot of similarities in the story. It's just they changed it at the last half hour.
Okay.
It is a very similar story to the original Dragon Ball arc, which is Journey to the West.
Yes.
But they made it, instead of having it being Emperor Pilaf being the main villain, it's this other guy. And he also wants the Blood Rubies, which come up out of nowhere, despite the fact they were looking for Dragon Balls earlier.
That's
it's been a hot minute since I've seen this, but I thought, you know what? These Dragon Ball movies are just fun enough, or Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z films are just fun and stupid enough that these are just fun to watch when the time comes.
I have to ask, ever since you brought up Dragon Ball Z abridged quite a bit in the past, have they made an abridged version of this?
So they have they only did the Z movies.
Oh, okay.
The only one that is technically the only one that technically might be either a Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z film, even though it legally has the Z subtitle. This would be closer to would be Dead Zone.
Okay.
But because it was really more of a Dragon Ball style film.
Yeah, agreed.
But it's technically part of Dragon Ball Z because it's like right before Dragon Ball Z starts.
Yeah, this is when he's Kid Goku.
Yeah, this is Kid Goku. But also, the thing is about the first 4 Dragon Ball films is none of them are canon in any way, shape, or form. Technically, none of the Dragon Ball films until you get to Super
are
canon. but you could rationalize parts
Yes.
of them. No, they're not even trying. It's like, oh, this show is popular. Let's make a movie based on it. Can we fit this anywhere? No. Oh well, let's just make a movie version and throw this other little sub thing in there so that you have a reason to watch this instead of just staying home and watching the TV show.
Yeah. Give you something else to watch.
Kind of. It's a goofy film.
Okay.
Which is why, but this is also the last Dragon Ball film before, and I'm including Dragon Ball Z in this, before Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods came out that Funimation got the rights to.
Really?
It was one of those weird ones that got, just hung out with some other, because of the weirdness of how Dragon Ball got originally released to the US.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of those that was stuck with some other rights holder who was sitting on it for a long time.
Really?
Till it finally ran out, and then Funimation got it. And then, so this is actually a fairly good dub because it's one of the later ones.
Oh, okay.
But anyway.
Yeah. And now for some reason I want to hear Team 4-Star do this as a movie.
They're probably not going.
No,
they're not going to.
They're not going to.
They never work, to be honest.
But it just sounds like a goofy concept. Those guys would just no.
I still think at some point I need to figure out a way for us to do all of Dragon Ball Z abridged, because I don't think it would work as part of TAS, because we got to include all the movies.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it would
the quote unquote move. Well, they're all 30-minute episodes at most.
Yeah,
maybe it could work in that, but we'll do that. Think about much
figure
later.
Something out. Maybe we can do like a spin-off show or whatever.
We'd have to try to do 3 episodes at a time. But anyway,
yeah. Would people actually want to watch that? Actually, listen to us talk about Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Just curious.
I mean, we've talked Dragon Ball stuff before.
We have.
Anyway,
yeah.
And legality of Dragon Ball Z Abridged is questionable as it is, but doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Join us next week for that. We're gonna hit the bumpers, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about what we've been watching, news, and of course, a little bit of the Phoenix Saga of X-Men.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest the Retro Rewind podcast. Every other week, join the Retro Rewind pod as they travel back 15 years or more along the entertainment space-time continuum in their mission to review movies and games, establishing what is still worth your time today and what isn't. Expect fun banter and trivial insights from Francisco, Paul, the Master Interrupter Powers, and a rotating cast of guest hosts, all of which are out of time. You're welcome, Roy.
The Cellcast would like to thank the following patrons: Ashley and Francisco Ruiz, Book of Gaming, PaulJPowers.com, and Melanie Dubois.
To get your name on the show, plus uncut episodes, early access to the Cellcast Plus reviews, and special art from Jacob, please donate to us on Patreon.
And there actually is some stuff to release.
Yes.
Some of which I've got to. I'm. One of them I actually need to figure out how, especially because you just sent me album art for the Batman episode.
Yes.
Which now means I've got to figure out how to work it into the artwork I already put out there, because I use the rewind thing.
Oh, okay.
So now I got to figure out how to put that in there.
Or you just put it there on Patreon, because I haven't released it.
I made it. Well, you were working on something else.
I was, but I'm because I sent you the sketch of it, and that's like eventually I will release that, but it's just more. I don't like how like one of the characters' face looks. It looks a little odd, so I have to go back and rework that. But it's like, yeah, if you want to release that just purely Patreon, I may do that. And it's not because I don't want to use that artwork in the album art. Mm-hmm. It's just we kind of made the decision like super early on, and that is true.
I forgot about it until the Thursday night I was editing. It's like, oh yeah, we have a special album art template for this, and it doesn't really make room for Jacob's artwork.
That is true.
Because
here's
because we're doing that weird little thing we're mocking Retro Rewind.
Yeah. Lovingly. And a Christian love.
Yeah, and Christian
love. So what?
There's an inside joke
so-
no one
so
else will get.
Here's like there again. This is more the stuff that our patrons are going to hear. This
Yeah, we
this-
are in patrons
we're
exclusive
in
section right now.
Jason right now. So the art, I'm thinking
So,
that
so those of you watching on the stream, go pay us money now.
yeah, if you would pleasantly please. Thank
Yes,
you very
I'm
much.
mostly teasing, but if you would
Yes.
like to support us,
Yes, go to Patreon.
go to patreon.com.
Yeah.
The link
Uh,
is somewhere.
Yeah, it's somewhere. Go
Go check an old episode.
Yeah.
I have would you believe not until about 2 weeks ago I had been including the link to the Patreon in the show notes. And it's just something that just didn't occur to me because
Yeah.
there's after I write in the stuff that changes every week, I
Yeah.
just copy and paste all the links from the last week,
Mhm.
and I make appropriate changes when necessary. And for some reason, since we got Patreon,
Mhm.
I never included the link to the Patreon. So no wonder. So people have had to actually have a hard time trying to look for our Patreon to find us.
Yeah.
So yeah, just go check it. Go to our website, the Cellcast at gmail.com. Click the last episode, the first episode that's there, and click the Patreon link. That's the easiest way to find it.
Yeah. So just more Patreon art. So it sounds like we're gonna take the artwork. I was originally gonna go for the
album art.
the album art, and what I would love to do is put like just a background in it, make it like the background of Batman Beyond series.
Yeah.
And I can do that fairly simple because it's noir punk
Yeah,
art, and that's
cyberpunk.
cyberpunk. It's more
That's what it is. It's cyberpunk.
It's cyberpunk, but it's got the same noir as like Batman the animated series in a way.
yes.
So yeah, I might just throw be like heck, we might throw both of them up there to see it the before and after. We'll see what you guys
Yeah.
think.
Anyway,
Anyways, so yeah, and I'm working on the album art for Fire and Ice. We discussed it. I think we did discuss them.
we I don't know if we discussed it on the stream, but the plan basically is as soon as we get done here,
Mhm.
before I start playing Zelda again,
Of course.
I am going to go ahead and upload the episode
Mhm.
with the default album art. Once he gets done with the album art, I'm gonna go in and update the file so it has the
Look for that.
the finished album art. We are how do I put this? We sometimes all get behind on our stuff. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, we do.
And so when we get delayed like this, it's not because most of the work's not done. It's just always waiting on that last thing,
Yeah, exactly.
one way or the other.
Well, here's
sometimes it's my fault, sometimes it's your fault.
exactly. So here's an interesting little story. So I'm actually working on a project for someone who
Yeah,
I've
'cause
never
you're
met.
busy
I'm
all the
busy. I'm
time.
busy all the time with stuff. So I'm working on this book with this guy. He wants to do illustrations. And I was
Nice.
like, yeah. So
Didn't know you were doing illustrations for a book.
yeah, it's something I've been working on, just trying to figure it out because
Right.
it was so nerve wracking trying to figure out everything. And it's like, oh, this is what it needs. Okay. So he asked me like, hey, how are the pencils going? Be like slow distraction, so many distractions. And apparently he's a teacher. And he says like, dude, no worries. I'm great. I'm good just turning in grades in on time. So yeah, we all get distracted.
Yeah.
And
You
yeah.
know.
So art is coming. So just
Right.
hang on. And by the way, what do you guys think about the art? If you're in Patreon,
Yeah.
what do you guys think of the art? Please let me know. If you want to, please message me privately or just be like, hey, Jacob, I really love your art. Let me know. And be like, if you guys want personal art, let me know.
He takes commissions.
I do get commissions. I actually got a commission the other week, and it's replicating something I did for the dessert auction.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I'd be like, it's gonna go for more money than that piece went for. So yeah, very again, thank you guys so much for being part of our Patreon and putting up with our shenanigans and the time delays and just getting
Stuff happens.
Agreed. So yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Are you
Back
ready?
to the show.
Back into the show.
Back
So Jacob, I have a question for you.
What have you been watching?
What have I been watching? So
Mm.
I was having a little bit of internet issues. I got those
Monday? Was those internet issues on Monday?
Monday. No, they weren't on Monday.
Because my internet issues were on Monday.
If I'm just being truly honest.
Oh, I know what internet issues you're referring to now. I'm sorry.
Yes. So I had
An incident occurred.
Which turns out really wasn't an incident. It was the real company.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was actually the real company. So here's the story. Story time, people. Don't we all love story time?
This is the story all about how my internet got turned off right now. So I'd like to take a moment, just sit right there. And I don't have a good way to finish this joke.
But I got behind payments on my internet because I was being, goofy and just didn't quite realize, just pay the bill, quit being scared or whatever. So I get this phone call on, I think it was yesterday. I get a phone call yesterday from my internet provider. It's like, oh, hey, here's your bill. All you need is pay it. And it's like, okay, sure. I just got paid. Sure, pay it. And I looked at my stub on my phone, and it didn't say the company's name. It said something else. I'm like, what is this? So I go and look up the phone number. It's like, and everything else was bots. I was like, oh. And so I called my internet provider, which is the automated voice system. And it said, you have a balance of, and I went, oh crap. I didn't say that. I'm very ashamed of what I said when I realized that. Mm-hmm. So I booked it down to my local bank, put a hold on that, and I had to get a new card and a whole enchilada. It wasn't fun. And it's like, hey, don't worry about it. This happens all the time. So I get done with work, go get a haircut because you need a new cut.
Yeah.
Need a new fade, and went to church, got home at 8. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to continue to watch the show I've been watching, which is Arrow from the CW, watching season 1. So I turn on, and it's like, but I turned on, and then all of a sudden I turned off by mistake. And I realized, ever since my internet's been off, I'm not getting ads for different streaming platforms. And then all of a sudden I'm seeing it. It's like, what is going on? So I click on the icon for the apps I have. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, they're all popping up. I'm like, what in the world is going on? I was like, okay, maybe there's a fluke. And I'm watching YouTube or whatever. I'm like, hold on. So I, call the automated voice system. And I was like, hey, what's my balance? I don't have a balance. It actually was the company who called me the other day. So I'd be like, I went to bed, and once 9 o'clock opened, 9 o'clock rang up this morning, I called the bank and hey, can you put a stop on this claim? Because it actually was the company. So I paid my bill, thought it was a scam, got the bank to put a hold on it. To turn out, it was actually my internet provider. So there's the story.
Okay.
So yes, I've been watching Arrow because I didn't have internet at the time. So I pulled out my trusty DVDs and started watching. And and then lo and behold, the night before I realized, oh, my internet is actually working. Oh, great. I feel like an idiot. So yeah, that's what I've been watching, and a lot of podcasts about true crime, which is what I love.
So in other words, don't anger you unless I want to end up dead in a ditch when they can't find my body.
That's more Ashley.
I know not to anger her. Anyway,
I haven't seen that side of her yet.
We've gotten close with a certain someone in our class who annoys her to some degree.
Ooh. Remind me later.
The one you have the Nerf gun for.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
What have I been watching?
Yes.
Not a whole lot, if we're being honest.
Yes.
I did, of course, I watched these films, the film for tonight, and the shows. I am starting back into Car Ranger because sometime this month I am going to have to get it reviewed, and I still have 20 episodes left.
And for those who don't, the world's like Car Ranger, actually Car Ranger.
Gekiso Sentai Karenja is
The
is
adaptation.
Super Sentai.
Yeah.
Is the show that Power Rangers gets its footage from. It is what Power Rangers Turbo was adapted from. And I am watching through it because I'm going to be guesting on an episode of the Power Trip.
And according
to
to the Power Trip,
review
like, we don't
this one.
talk about Turbo.
So of course that's the one I volunteered for.
So he volunteered his car tribute.
I think it's a Kia tribute.
Kia tribute.
I think Kia is the one that makes the tribute. No, I chose it because it's like, it was the first one I thought, okay, I'll have enough time to watch an entire series of in the amount of time allotted me at the time. And two, it's like, well, Power Rangers is goofy.
Mm-hmm.
Sentai is goofier.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a parody of Sentai,
Mm-hmm.
which is supposed to be the goofy, which is meant to be goofier than what you're making fun of. So goofy on top of goofy on top of goofy. It's like, this sounds like my kind of show.
Fair.
Strangely enough, this might be the most down-to-earth Sentai I've ever watched.
Wow. Okay.
It's still goofy. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But a lot of the goofy is, what happens if you actually put normal people in this role instead of teenagers with attitude? Or when you take of course this stuff happens. It's a television show.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, we are making a giant mecha with these cars. And instead of just hitting a button and the computer automatically does it, we actually have to do it ourselves.
Interesting.
It takes we have to figure out how to use our weapon. Let's look at the owner's manual.
Oh my!
It's
God.
Stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's like here's it is over the top.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it is like, oh yeah, it's over the top. We're doing a lot of these over the top things, but sometimes we're also just like, what would really happen if we actually did this?
Okay, so I do have a question.
Bear in mind, this is also the one where the quote unquote sixth ranger is a magical girl and is only in 3 episodes.
So I do have a serious question when it comes to, because there again, be like,
where am I watching this?
No. Like growing up watching Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain season where characters get shrank, and season 3 or season 4
that would be Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers, probably, where the main heroes get turned into kids.
Exactly.
And they pull in a group of rangers from an alien planet to help them out.
Yeah, exactly.
While they're trying to get everything switched over.
Right.
Okay, that is during the Kaku Ranger.
Oh yeah,
era. 2 seasons before this.
I know this. Okay, so my question would be, definitely if it was between you and Nate Marchand from the Power Trip, is that it's like, I realize these younger Rangers can't morph. Am I right? They can't morph.
Yeah, because it works on Y2K logic.
Okay.
It's we've been reduced to the age we were before we were Power Rangers, so we can't morph.
Oh, okay. That is interesting. But then you go into
Justin got his powers as a child. That's why he can morph.
Oh.
It has nothing to do with age or size.
Okay, I was just curious.
It has everything to do with
what?
We can't use our powers because we've been reduced to an age where before we had powers, which doesn't make any sense. But that's Power Rangers for you. What made
question answered, I guess.
You asked.
Nate, if you have any more further questions, please let me know.
Just go back and listen to the Power Trip, where a journey through the Power Rangers franchise.
Yeah,
because they have already gone through.
They got distracted.
They have already gone through all 29 seasons of Power Rangers, and they have actually already talked about Once and Always, which should be out sometime in the next week. I keep forgetting to release it. Our episode on it,
of course.
We did do a reaction to that, and I haven't released it yet.
It's a plus reaction.
Yeah, because that was the thing. I was thinking. I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we got this out before Power Trip? And we didn't.
We didn't.
In my defense, those were the month of April was packed.
Yeah, agreed.
We had 3 reactions and 5 episodes. I did the best I could under the
Yes.
circumstances
Fair.
on the editing. So
Fair.
it's I think it's edit. I think I just need to go through and like stitch it together.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
Anyway.
yeah, so yeah, be like when he said Car Ranger or Turbo, I was like, okay, I need a question answered.
right. So I've watched some of that. I
Played a certain game.
We'll get to that in a minute. I also started an anime
Ah,
that I had heard about, and it was kind of an interesting idea. It's a bit of a romance story.
okay.
The name of it is Tonikawa,
Hmm.
which I don't know what that word means.
Fair.
But the subtitle that goes along with this is like Over the Moon with You.
Hmm.
Basically, what it is that this kid is pushing himself to be really great at school.
fair.
It's Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. I'm not sure which.
Gotcha.
It's a full moon either way. And it's snowing in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how often that happens. But anyway, he is on his way home from a practice exam for his high school entrance exams.
Hmm.
Because that's a thing in Japan, apparently.
Yes.
And he sees a girl and immediately falls in love with her.
Hmm.
And she thinks she's going to he thinks he's going to get I'm sorry, I misread that. I not misread it. Anyway, he sees her while he's crossing the road
Yes.
and nearly gets a visit from the isekai truck of good fortune.
Hmm.
But she saves him at the last minute. So of course he's bloody as heck because he did actually technically get hit,
Ah.
but didn't get transported to another world because this isn't actually an isekai.
Hmm.
And she says, "Oh yeah, you're not gonna die just yet. Go." She gets the guy to call 911 or 999 actually, or 555 actually in Japan, and she leaves and thinks, "Oh," and he's now scared that this is the last time he's ever going to see this girl because he's in love with her, and the way she turned and was walking towards the full moon reminded him of an ancient Japanese tale,
Hmm.
and now he's convinced he's never going to see her again, and this will be the end of his life. So he gets up and runs towards her, chases her to a bus stop. Bear in mind, he just got hit by a truck. He's not in good condition.
Yeah.
And this was a good, solid hit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So she says, "Oh, you followed me here. Okay, fine. I'll listen to you talk." And finally he gets, I don't remember the exactness, but he says, but he finally starts saying, "Man, I'm not feeling too good. What's going on? I'm feeling faint." He says, "Well, that would be because A, you've lost a lot of blood. B, you're coming off the adrenaline, which the adrenaline was the only reason you could run here on 2 broken legs." Yeah, because he was hit by a truck. And he says, and finally,
it might have fits me like anime. Most of them be like, someone get hit by a freight train. They go spiraling
Right.
off. They get up a minute later.
right. And then he finally, after all this like, because they're obviously kind of spreading this out towards the end of the episode, he said, he finally gets up the gumption and the gall to finally say, "Will you go out with me?"
Hmm.
And she says, "Okay, but on one condition. We got to be married."
And say what?
And he agrees to this. And then he faints from the blood loss.
Of course.
Wakes up months later, doesn't know where she is. She's gone. As far as he knows, indeed, she has disappeared into the ether. He, of course, since he missed the final exam he was supposed to take,
Yeah.
the college entrance exam, and gets put off a year.
Yeah.
Before he has a chance to actually go and take the exam, she shows up at his door with the paperwork for a marriage certificate. And she says, and he says, "Oh yeah, I remember doing that. Yeah, sure, I'll sign it." It's like, "Okay, we'll have to turn in the next day." No, we'll go turn it in now. There's all night places where you can do this in Japan, apparently, because there's some people who don't want the attention when they get married, like idols and such, is the excuse they use. And this is about the point where the episode ended. And I'm like, so they're married, by the end of this episode. The next episode is literally says our first night together. I'm going, I don't know if I want to watch the second part or not, because while the show is good, I'm afraid where this might lead.
Yeah.
I'm actually interested in continuing the show, but I have not had a chance to watch past the first episode.
What is this show called?
Tonikawa.
Tonikawa.
That's the name of it. It's on Crunchyroll. That's where I'm watching it.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of a sweet, if not crazy, story so far.
Interesting.
It could go off the rails very easy at any time.
Yeah.
Which, considering the next episode, that's there is, our first night. I'm going. Well, I know what normally happens on the first night of a marriage.
Right.
I mean, it's
more traditional.
More traditionally, anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how that's going to go, considering they barely know each other and now they're married.
Yeah, that happens.
At least in the eyes of the law.
Right.
That'll be interesting. Bear in mind, his folks have never met this woman. They're not going to be happy, I bet. No. Anyway, so I watched that. And other than that, I was playing earlier this week a game called Yakuza 2 Kiwami.
Oh, yeah.
I have only stopped playing this game,
I wonder
not
why.
because the game is bad, but because a game that I had budgeted for, pre-ordered, and found even a way to save $10 on via Nintendo.
Really?
Yeah, because the game is actually $70.
Yeah,
which is like $10 more than the normal price for a Nintendo Switch game. I'm sorry, I didn't save $10. I saved $20
nice.
Because I only actually paid $50 for this game.
Nice, good job.
Through the Nintendo eShop, because I've been a Nintendo NSO member since I'm an NSO member. You can buy these things called game tickets. You have to buy 2 of them at a time, and the price is $100 for both.
Okay.
But then you can use them on any game you want. Including the game I purchased and I've played a little bit of and will be playing immediately after I finish the stream. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Surprise, surprise.
It is a good game. I highly suggest it.
Yes.
You want to see what it's like, join me Monday nights. I'll be playing this on stream for a while until I beat the game, probably. Anyway, assuming my internet doesn't get wonky again, like it did the other night.
Right.
But other than that, that's pretty much all I've been playing and watching.
Got it.
So, Jacob, I have another question for you. What do we have in the news? Deal-it.
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why, thank you, Leela. And in the news for this week, I couldn't find anything. I'm literally serious.
You
be
have
like,
no news.
no news. Be like, to quote old Lone Star, the old country band, no news. So I could not find anything worthy of be like Guillermo del Toro's doing like a gallery exhibit for Pinocchio or something like that. That was in the news. And I don't think it was really like it had a connection with the film we've reacted to. We've reacted to it, but hasn't been released though.
Right.
It was released, right?
Pinocchio?
Yes.
We did a full review
Yeah.
of Pinocchio.
It hasn't been released though.
It's on Netflix.
No, the review we did.
Yes, long time ago.
Okay, good. I'm just checking.
I am only 1 week behind on releases, good sir.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. We're not going back to our first, what was it, the second season where it was
First season where we had a 3-week hiatus.
Yeah.
And then we had to re-record 3 episodes.
That is true.
Which made it a 4-week hiatus.
Yeah. Gotta love that stuff, right? But yeah, that's I really couldn't find anything really like of note. I mean, like obviously the Little Mermaid live action remake is coming to theaters really quick because I know we're gonna I believe we're gonna do a reaction to it. I believe
That was the assumption.
that's the assumption. I agree. because I know me and my girlfriend are going to go watch it. I know that.
And yet you never watched the ABC Live version.
No, I
with,
haven't.
With Dead-Eyed Flounder.
That's what I keep hearing. I'm gonna have to break down. Actually, watch the special.
It is on Disney Plus.
I saw the thumbnail for it. I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah, interesting is a word.
So I'm assuming you've watched it.
No,
Okay,
I've just seen pictures.
okay.
Look, here's the thing: Little Mermaid is one of those films for me because, Grant, I don't love it as much as you do.
Fair.
But it is one of my formative movies from my youth.
I got you.
It's not going to be. None of these films are going to be as good as the original.
Agreed.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, agreed.
It could be an excellent film. It's still not going to be better than the original film.
Agreed.
I will still see it, and the new one, because I know it's going to be far better than whatever is on ABC. That ABC Live one was, because there's no way that was going to be good. Because I don't know. It just I knew it wasn't going to be as good.
Right.
Anyway, since you couldn't find news, I have some news.
What do you got?
Do you remember from our first year the continuing news story that we kept following of the arson at Kyoto Animation?
That's right. Yeah.
There is actually some news on this front.
Really?
Yes. The Kyoto Animation arsonist case begins its main trial on September 5th with the verdict scheduled for January 25th.
Nice.
So apparently we do actually have some stuff going on with that.
Nice. Interesting.
Bear in mind that arsonist thing did result in the death of 36 people and wounded 33 others on September 5th of that year. This is my I'm getting this off Anime News Network, by the way, is where I'm getting this news. The trial will have 32 total hearings. In September and October, hearings will be held 2 or 3 times a week for a total of 10 hearings for each of those months. In November and December, hearings will be held 5 to 6 times each month. The Kyoto District Court started pre-trial proceedings on May 8th. The pre-trial was to decide the schedule for the main trial and is also discussing prior issues and evidence. The presiding judge in the pre-trial was Keisuke Masuda. If that means anything to anybody. Now, 2019 is when that happened. That's why we were covering it.
That's right.
That year. So, yeah.
Okay, well, that's good.
Good to know that we're finally going to be getting some closure on that horror.
Yeah. That tragic event.
That tragic event. So, yeah, I guess that's all the news we've got.
So, Drew actually gave the news today.
Hey, it happens.
It does happen.
And the only reason I even remembered that is because she said, "Oh, I got no news." I was like, "Didn't I see news earlier this week on something that we hadn't covered in a while on ANN?" Because I go on ANN daily for some reason. But anyway, yeah. Are you ready then to jump into a little Firebird?
Yeah, it's not driven by a bandit.
And we're definitely not going eastbound and down.
No.
Spacebound and down, loaded up and trucking.
Previously on X-Men.
Meet the sulky, over-bulky, kinda hulky superhero. A two-fisted and electrically transistored superhero. An exotically erotic and aquatic superhero. The Marvel superheroes have arrived. X-Men, X-Men, it's the day, X-Men, X-Men, coming your way.
I just thought of something I've been wanting to do.
Previously
Since we started this, and I keep forgetting to do this.
Previously on X-Men.
Meet the sulky, over-bulky, kinda hulky superhero. A two-fisted and electrically transistored superhero. An exotically erotic and aquatic superhero. The Marvel superheroes have arrived.
X-Men, X-Men, it's today, X-Men, X-Men, coming your way. Spider-Man and his amazing friend, Iceman
and Firestar.
These are the tears when Iron Man joins the fight. All the time that has Thunder's mind. Who will save the day? The superhero squad. But I didn't think about it till already we were halfway through Wolverine.
So I have to say before that, so last week on Fire and Ice, we had Francisco, you're welcome, Roy, from Retro Rewind, and his reaction to the bumper, it was like, what the heck was that?
The thing is, we've talked about this before, that first audio clip is from the first Marvel animated television show.
Yes, it is.
That is almost all completely lost footage at this point.
Yes.
The only thing that survived was that opening, and it's got the stupidest opening lines ever, and that's why it's included. And I had to include the one that actually had a mutant in it, and of course that's the one that's exotically erotic.
Oh my gosh, that was the most hilarious thing. But like, if you go back and watch the stream or wherever you're watching the video, like go and watch Francisco's
on YouTube.
Go watch it on YouTube. It is hilarious. Someone clip it because it's hysterical. It's like he's just like, huh? Okay. What in the? He's got that. The world looks. But yeah, I just found that. Thank you, Francisco.
Anywho, get this back up. Back down to it. X-Men the Animated Series, The Phoenix Saga, episodes 3 and 4, aka Cry of the Banshee, which came out on September 7th, 1994, and Starjammers, which came out on September 8th, 1994. Both episodes were directed by Larry Houston, and they were written by Michael Edens for the first one and Mark Edward Edens for the second one. In these episodes, Juggernaut and Black Tom Cassidy kidnap Lilandra for Eric the Red, but the X-Men track them down. A fight results in a stalemate until Gladiator, guard to the Imperial throne, shows up to take Lilandra captive. Phoenix rescues her and vanquishes Gladiator for the meantime. Also, the X-Men fail to protect the Imcran crystal from intergalactic pirates called the Starjammers, who plan to sell it to Deken, as well as to use Cyclops as an assassin. Phoenix transports the X-Men to the crystal, but Deken succeeds in unlocking its power. Guest casts for these episodes include Lawrence Bain as Eric the Red, Rick Bennett as Juggernaut, Lally Cadeau as Dr. Moira McTaggart, Richard Epcar as Gladiator, Jeremy Ratchford as Banshee, Camilla Scott as Lilandra, Philip Williams as Black Tom Cassidy, and Jeffrey Ayres as Corsair. And of course, once again, we do not have Magneto.
I am Magneto, master of magnet.
Yes, at this point, I do have to find a way to work that clip into every episode.
Course.
Debuting in this episode, we have Gladiator, who has the exact same power set as Superman, except now he's purple and has a mohawk, which is odd. Anyway, first appearance of Black Tom Cassidy, which is Banshee's brother. In the comics, Black Tom and Banshee are cousins, not brothers. We also have the debut of the Shi'ar Imperial Guard, aka Starbolt, Flashfire, Oracle, Smasher, Titan, Hobgoblin, Warstar, Earthquake, Hussar, Astra, and Manta, and the Starjammers being Chode, Corsair, Raza, Longknife, and Hepzibah. I'd like to point out one of these characters' name is Chode. Chode? It's CH''OD. How else are you supposed to pronounce that?
Yeah.
Chode? Chod? Chod? No, it's Chode. Let's be honest. Chad?
It's Chad.
Chod.
Chad. He's British.
For a split second, while Wolverine is cutting himself out of the ice, a box says, "Cut out these frames," appears on the screen. Say what? There is a full-on animation error in this.
It's like, hey, Wolverine, look for this sign right here.
No. This was a note to the animators. Cut out these frames, and the editor didn't do it.
Oh, that's great.
As Phoenix leaves Earth with everybody, glimpses of Captain Britain, Hellfire Club's Emma Frost, and Doctor Strange can be seen.
Yes.
As cameos. And that's what I got in the notes.
Ah.
What are your thoughts on this episode?
There again, it's a continuation of the Phoenix Saga. You
Yes.
get more of, like, obviously, like, I think it was in the last episode we get
Lalandra?
Larandra. I want to call it laundry, but it's not laundry.
It's Lalandra.
I'm going to say it wrong. I'm sorry, people. I'm going to say this wrong.
Oh, just call her Black Widow because she's running around in a Black Widow suit the whole time.
I agree.
What is with this the Shi'ar Empire and their love of spiders? Because the Ken is wearing a spider motif suit too.
That is true.
Spider-Man ought to be suing. They are stealing his look.
Or at least getting cut from the Shi'ar.
Should, yeah.
But anyways, we were introduced to her character in the last episode, and it's just this continuation of Charles is finally understanding what's really going on, and he's finally able to tell people what's going on.
Is he really? I don't think anyone knows what's going on.
That is true. It's a confusing mess. Phoenix finally, pops up. Well, again, she pops up. And it's good. Like this third episode is really well done, and it's setting up more and more what's going on. Like what is
Lalandra.
I'm gonna say it wrong. I'm sorry.
Laundry. Okay.
A laundry. Call it laundry. There we go. Laundry. Oh my God.
Officially, her name is Laundry now.
Laundry.
Or call her Laundry.
Laundry.
Mixing
You're not helping.
Lalandra with I can't even say what I'm trying to say.
Me either.
It's Lalandra.
Never mind. Someone clip this, please.
Audrey was the other word I was going to do. Combining Lalandra with Audrey. Laundry.
So either way,
Laundry Hepburn in X-Men.
You're not helping. And Christian Love, stop it. Either or. I'm more red than I am usually. So we learn more about characters. We learn what's going on, what the Shi'ar Empire is doing. The Phoenix pops up again, which is like, oh, okay, so we need to go into outer space. Go outer space.
Of course.
And of course, Charles is like, no, you need to take me with you. Why didn't you leave me behind? It's okay, like, sorry, Wheels, you're stuck.
Okay, hang on. I need to touch on this.
Okay, touch on this. Yeah, touch this. Nah.
I get that somehow Professor Xavier has fallen in love with Lalandra.
Yeah, Lalandra.
And I know that's a thing in the comics.
Yeah.
Boy, this comes right the smack out of nowhere.
That is true. Oh, because you've been invading my mind for the entire time. I just know you and love you.
They saw each other for 5 minutes at the end of last episode.
Yes.
And she's gone for most of this because she's kidnapped by Eric the Red and Black Tom.
This poor character
for most of this.
She gets kidnapped the entire season.
And then they're escaping says, no, Lalandra, take me with you. I'm in love with you. It's like, since when?
Last episode?
Apparently. I mean, he can't make out with Jean Grey because she's with Cyclops.
And that's just weird.
Bear in mind that all 5 of those people in the original X-Men were wanting to go out with Jean Grey.
Yeah,
including Xavier.
I'm aware of that.
Despite the fact he was 30 years older than the rest of the group. Anyway.
Creepy.
Anywho.
Hey, she's a redhead. She's attractive. But, yeah.
At least they're not calling her Marvel Girl yet.
Yeah, that's true.
That was a dumb name for her.
I agree. That was a dumb name.
But anyway.
Anyways.
Yeah,
good episode. Very good episode. I'd be like, I actually had to laugh when Charles did, take me with you. It's like, really? It's like, Okay, you don't know where
Yeah.
you're going. It's like,
I
I want to go into outer space too. But the last episode, you see your own team in there without knowing anything.
especially since they all think he's nuts.
Yeah, he's kind of gone bonkers.
Like-
Like his own astral projection
I
of the dark self.
I
Fought
especially,
us last time.
I especially like the beginning of this one where, you know, you got Lalandra in there, they're having this discussion, and then you get Juggernaut's broken in,
Oh yeah.
and Black Tom are there, and they're all doing having this big whole thing. Juggernaut throws him out the window.
Mhm.
Moira and Banshee see him. Banshee flies off to catch him, all while screaming. I have issues with that. I'll bring it up in a minute. And they bring back, and it's like, and Xavier's going, "Where's Lalandra? She was taken by Juggernaut." And Moira's sitting there going, "What are you talking about, Charles? There's been nobody here."
Yeah.
It's like,
Did you not see this?
why would Charles jump? Hey, no, let me rephrase. Not just why would Charles jump out of a window to his death for Phantom. How did he jump out of that wheelchair?
Yeah. Would be like he can't use the ability of his legs. Did he just throw himself the window?
Granted, that's because of his psychic block. That's why he was able to walk around Savage Lands, because that somehow blocked his mutant powers.
Ability to walk? Okay.
No, that gave him his ability to walk because his psychic issues that were keeping him from walking were muted, so then he could walk.
That's not confusing at all.
Welcome to X-Men. Welcome to Marvel frickin' Comics.
I agree.
Everything's been retconned to the nth degree.
Yes. Let's explain everything and re-explain everything 2 days later.
Yes, but
yeah,
this together, this is really you must be going mad, Charles, because there's been nobody here. It's like, really?
You did not see this massive explosion.
Are you telling me on this entire island there's not one single camera that might have accidentally caught a giant red juggernaut?
Well, let me give it.
Bear in mind, don't forget, Juggernaut's not a mutant.
No, he's not.
He's magic.
Yeah,
it's the weirdest thing.
I agree, but up to explain Miss Moira McTaggart and Banshee's, like being kind of preoccupied with the whole making out, not paying attention to things.
Well, they were on the verge of making out on the top of that hill.
That is true. And they didn't hear the massive explosion, and Charles go, "Ah!"
Right. Oh, and I do need to jump on this other thing too. Banshee. In order for him apparently to do anything, he must scream
his bloody head off.
Granted, I know that's where the Banshee is where he gets his powers from. He does have supersonic screaming is his ability.
Mm-hmm.
And I can maybe kind of sort of understand how this makes him fly.
Mm-hmm.
But why doesn't his screaming actually sound like a Banshee scream? Why does it sound like he's going, "Oh"?
Maybe it was the voice director.
Correction, I actually did that wrong. It was, "Oh."
Yeah.
Like, you're not even screaming, dude. You're just going, "Oh."
And they
the dreaded black beast of Boy, I wish I could have brought that up last week.
Oh my gosh, yes. But yeah, these episodes are packed full. There again, you get the episode with the Starjammers and the revelation that, oh my gosh, Corsair is Scott's father. Dun, dun, dun.
Which tell me I'm wrong about this. You see Corsair.
Yeah.
Who is the first name that comes to your mind?
Corsair?
Yeah, you see this guy.
Yeah.
Whether he's, he does look like Cyclops.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes sense that there's that connection. But my first thought was, I looked at him and go, why are you not being voiced by Jonathan Frakes?
That is true. Oh my gosh, yes. We had that pre-show.
Yes. Why are you not voiced by Jonathan Frakes? That would have been the perfect casting. And secondly, why did this character never show up in X-Men movies and being played by Jonathan Frakes against Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier? And the thing is, it's not like we don't know he can play villainous characters because he's the freaking main villain of Gargoyles.
Thank you very much.
with
probably best
with his-
villain in that time
with his
period.
girlfriend, his Imzadi Deanna Troy.
There's like, yeah, I think that's a series we need to cover at some point.
Oh, it's probably going
It's
to
gonna
be.
happen.
We've got a lot of that's the problem.
Mhm.
I will say with the animated series, is there's tons of shows we want to cover, and there ain't enough time.
That is true. That is so true. So yeah, we get introduced to the Starjammers, all those people. We get the revelation that Corsair is like, it's very obvious,
Oh yeah,
very obvious. And then you get be like, oh, the big baddie. He's like, oh, we're gonna sell you the crap.
I was going to say Spider-Man, but that's not the right
No,
term.
not Spider-Man.
Spider Emperor, Lalandra's brother,
Lalandra's brother.
for the
He came
McCann
up-
crystal.
They can
McCann.
McCann.
It's like macaw, but it's
Macaw.
McCann.
Oh, okay.
Giant parrot crystal.
Bear crystal. Caw, caw, caw. That's a parrot. That's a raven, you bozo.
Well, I mean, that could say human speech too. But anyway,
Anyways, the Shi'ar crystal, whatever it's called.
I like to point out this little thing I just realized. This is the third episode with McCann or whatever his name is, the Emperor of the Shi'ar Empire.
Yeah.
I fairly certain I know how episode 5 ends. And he has yet to have been credited in any of the places I pulled this information from. Despite the fact he's talked in 3 of these 4 episodes.
Yeah.
And I have no marking as to who played this guy.
Yeah. And like even the point, like even the pre-show, we were talking about it, where like I walked in
As I was finishing the episode.
finishing the episode, and we're
was distracted.
It happens. Like yeah, you know, Tears of the Kingdom kind of came out this morning. Today. You know, the new Zelda game, people. But yeah, I'm walking in and we're getting to the final end of that episode, and the evil emperor finally gets the crystal.
And gets I just realized this. He gets assumed by pink energy.
He does.
Too much pink energy is dangerous, folks.
Yes.
He gets filled with the evil of pink energy.
So does it become the Ranger Slayer?
No, because that would be cool.
That would be
And
cool.
owned by Boom Studios.
Thank you very much. But yeah, the ending, it's really cool. It's what do they call it? The Dark Void or something like that.
I don't remember.
It's so much like
we
90s.
are so far into comics logic in these 2 episodes.
Yes, I agree.
Oh, by the way, Rogue's back after being missing the last 2 episodes.
That is true. She was on mission.
Yeah, she was on mission. I like how it says, well, we're all on mission sometimes, Rogue. So it makes sense you weren't here. It's like she just showed up out of nowhere.
Exactly.
In the hospital room. Where have you been, Rogue? Where has this mission been? I mean, at least Gambit was happy to see you.
That is true. It's Gambit.
You like that, Sherry? I can get you one. That's the wrong voice
a
for
very-
Gambit. I went with my Irish voice.
Even Irish, Scottish, you know, Scottish,
Not my not my Cajun, because I don't think I
Cajun.
actually have a Cajun accent.
Cajun accent. Which Gambit sounds Cajun.
I
in a way.
guarantee. I actually do. It's not really Gambit because it's like I guarantee.
Yeah.
That Gambit's going to get the girl at the end of this. This is not even good Cajun accent.
No, you're floating back into it.
I'm going back into my Irish, which if I'm not careful will go to in my Liverpool, which is closer to Irish. I'd go into my Russian, but that requires me to talk about crushing a sparrow egg between men's thighs. This is not even that Russian
No,
accent.
it's not. It's so Scottish.
I went Scottish. What are you standing around for? Don't you know a jailbreak when you see one? Yes, folks, I just quoted Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. The worst Star Trek movie ever made. Are you back?
I'm afraid you're gonna say something.
You know, I have something on the tip of my tongue that I gotta have to say. I'm waiting for you to get to the point where it's not gonna kill you.
First aid.
Admiral, there'll be whales here. We're looking for the nuclear vessels in Alameda.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
Okay, Star Trek talk off. X-Men.
Let me get to my row where I can actually talk.
X-Men, it's today. I don't know if that's actually what's singing in that line.
All right. Good set of episodes. Then
Yes.
we get into the fifth episode.
Yes, there's one more episode. It'll be the only one we review next week,
Yes.
which is part 5, which I don't have the actual subtitle for yet.
Yeah.
Because none of these subtitles are actually in IMDb until you actually click the button
Yeah.
to actually go to the episode thing. Because it just says, Phoenix Saga episode 4. You go into it. Oh, it's episode 4, Starjammers.
Child of Light.
The Child of Light.
Child of Light.
Child of light, born of light. You don't know what I'm singing.
It sounds familiar.
Only because you have heard me play one song incessantly about 2 years ago, and it's part of that. But that's actually singing from a different thing. Moving on.
Yeah.
Join us next week for that. In the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we will catch you in the next frame. Daylet!
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photobin, to see his photography. His letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast, on Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming, on YouTube at Cellcast, on Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
I couldn't come up with one in time.
Oh my gosh. I can't even. I mean, like, I'm so, like, the fact that when you laugh so hard you can't think.
Right.
Right.
Okay, I think I may have one. Oh, you're a villain, all right. Just not a super one. Say the next line. What's the difference?
What's the difference?
Presentation.
Your presentation stinks. Working on another one.
Okay, that's probably on the end. I don't know. That's just the first thing I could think of.
Fair. Oh my god.
Hi, Bobo. Thank you for coming in
Bobo.
at the last possible
Bobo.
minute.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, go back and watch the
Yeah.
rest of this. Was funny. To me, it was funny. Either Drew was funny. People are like, you guys are just nuts.
Oh, we are nuts.
And apparently we got what was it from what was that? Who gave the sexiest guys on?
Oh, that was Geek Devotions.
Geek Devotions. Thanks, I appreciate that.
Up, wrong button.
Oh.
Hold on. Where is it?
Oh, Geek Devotions.
Oh, here he is. Breaking news: Drew and Jacob have been voted the hottest men in the culture box. We're also the ones most available.
Well, I'm
We're
not
the one-
available.
Correction. I'm the hottest man of culture box because I'm the most available. I'm the only one not attached. And thank y'all for joining us. Next week we are going to be doing Dragon Ball Curse of the Blood Rubies.
That sounds like
I keep wanting to say Curse of the Blood Moon.
Yeah.
Is not the name of that episode. So yeah, join us next time for that. I'm going to find us somebody to raid because of course I forgot to check it again.
Of course, it happens.
Twitch.
I'm not going to.
How much you want to bet that whoever I pick for this is playing Tears of the King?
Oh, probably because probably everybody's playing that game right now.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Who's available for? Oh, it's just got 3 people, and none of them say they're playing this. So we're going to go to Kennethan. He is playing World of Warcraft.
Oh wow, okay.
So y'all enjoy yourselves over there.
Thanks, guys.
Once it goes.
Yeah, this has been a fun episode.
3, 2, 1. There it goes.
Excellent. Again, guys, thank you so very much for being a part of this journey.
The Cellcast Gaming's here.
Okay. Bye, guys.